morning and welcome to Workhorse Wrestling Network. You are gathered with us here for the Winner's Circle. It is Saturday morning, September 6th, bright and early 7:10 a.m., roughly 7:10 a.m. over here on the West Coast, 10 a.m. over there on the East Coast where Miss Anika is at. We hope that you enjoyed your Friday night. How was SmackDown last night?
It was so good.
I
And
heard someone made their appearance.
the rumors are over. It has been confirmed. AJ Lee is back. And sweet baby Jesus. yeah, she was missed. She was definitely missed. And I've been, listen, ever since the Royal Rumble, the Women's Royal Rumble in 2014, 2016, I've been chasing that video of my niece of her coming back. It's like, when is this gonna happen? And it's like, please don't be a rumor. Please let it be confirmed. Please let it be true. And as soon as they got the ball rolling, Niecy Poole come downstairs real quick, and you can hear it on our short. And I'm like, stop skipping. She's a grown woman. You are 18. Oh, shut all of this down. But yeah, this is a
Goody.
this is such a big freaking deal. And don't care about Steph, no offense, but her versus Becky, and hopefully they'll do that eventually, is the perfect first match for her. Like Becky was so stupid last night. She was so stupid in the best way possible. So I'm so hyped. Yes. Welcome back,
So,
AJ. Yes.
in your opinion, do you think that this is a full return like CM Punk has made, or is this a one-off like a Trish Stratus or a Lita appearance?
And mine, so I'm gonna say Legends deal. I'm gonna say, because it's great. Like, it's so. Even though we criticize wrestling in general, it's hard to plan ahead. And I say that to say this. Yes, Palooza, y'all being petty, but also the launch of y'all being on the ESPN app. You want it to be so freaking big. But in my mind, I'm like, this gotta be a WrestleMania match, right? This has to be a WrestleMania match. But we're in September. So how the ham fat do you get to September all the way back to August? I mean, no, sorry, April. So in my mind, they do this. They do this match. Maybe she'll come back Survivor, maybe like either Survivor Series or a Rumble, and then get a actual program going. And then also, yes, Becky Lynch is great, but you can't tell me Roxanne Perez, who is a known AJ Lee lover, she's like, oh, we're doing this match. It's like oh, I'm definitely fighting you before you hang back up your kick your Converse. So, but in my mind, this baseline of it, she definitely should beat AJ for the. I'm sorry, she definitely should beat Becky for the IC championship, and let her get beat by Roxanne Perez. I think that would be a nice little program. How you get from point A to point Mania, I'm not sure, but I think that should be where that should be the trail. That should definitely be the trail.
I guess we'll see what ends up happening, but exciting things with AJ Lee making her return, I guess, for the moment to WWE. If you're new here to Workhorse Wrestling Network, and you're with us on the YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button on this video. If you hit that bell for notifications and turn that on, it'll make sure that you're notified every time we put something up on the YouTube channel. With unfortunately with us, because life be life and where we only have so many people, sometimes things change. Sub card is always subject to change and always subject to change at the last minute. So if you have that bell set up, you'll be sure to get a notification as we're going live. So if you're with us on Twitch, we appreciate you over there. Give us a follow over there as well. If you want to chime in the chat, love to hear from you guys. Love to talk about anything you guys want to talk about. We're going to be reviewing AEW Collision from Saturday, August 30th, and AEW Dynamite from Wednesday, September 3rd. And we'll grade each show, and the winner will be our winner for the day for circle. So if you want to talk about AEW Collision, AEW Dynamite, AEW in general, wrestling in general, or anything else that your little heart desires, we're happy to chat with you about whatever it is. Um, so I guess without further ado, we can crack into AEW Collision from Saturday, the 30th of April, the last collision of the month of April. I'm
Yeah,
April. I'm sorry.
I
I
did it too. I did it
are
too.
still in the 2300 arena, the ECW arena in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. It's interesting that arena, not just nostalgic wise, not just remembering like all the stuff that's happened there, but physically watching it after all this time because and they come and go like this episode for some reason. This episode of Collision really struck me as that arena feels very house showy ish. Like it feels
Oh,
very
yeah,
small and intimate, and it gives you the idea that Collision felt like it felt like I was there kind of at a house show, even though I wasn't. Like that's how it felt watching it, which
yeah.
can be good and bad. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, the reality is that you've made it clear that you want Collision to be, hopefully on the same page as Dynamite. So you want to make sure that it's a spectacle and that it's proper for TV and doesn't look like something whatever. At the same time, that intimate getting having that same kind of intimate feeling from home that you can get from being in a smaller venue is kind of cool too. I mean, it is so yeah, I mean, I felt like you were a little closer to the action and it felt like they did a little bit of different kind of camera angles too. It really felt house showy to me. I enjoyed this episode of Collision. But we're back at the 2300 arena and we're kicking it off with a match between Daniel Garcia and Blake Christian. Daniel Garcia and Daddy Magic are out. Daddy Magic is going to be on commentary for the match. And yeah, I mean, I assume. Oh, before the match gets started, here comes your faithful leader of the Death Riders, and he's up on the ring apron talking to Daniel Garcia about something. We don't know exactly what it was, but post match, Daniel Garcia's comments post match were a little interesting to me after this happened because I wasn't totally sure where we were going, and I feel like so we'll talk about it. But John Moxley comes up on the apron, gives him and then the match kicks off. Blake Christian, is what he is at this point. They book him essentially as a solid hand that loses matches. He doesn't really win a whole lot, so but he's a solid wrestler. So you can put him in with somebody, especially like a Daniel Garcia, who's for all intents and purposes, a very good wrestler in the ring. Um,
Right.
and they can have a short little good little match, which they did. I mean, he had some good offense before Daniels Garcia got pretty much a definitive win, which he should at this point. I mean, that's how they're being booked in AEW. But I thought Blake Christian looked good, and we say this all the time, and I don't know what it is, and it's starting to sound like a broken record, and I'm starting to irritate myself by saying it because I don't even know what it really means at this point. But I want more for Blake Christian, and I don't know what that means. But there's no room, there's nothing. I don't. I mean, he can't be world champion. He's not that good. He's not going to be. He's not going to be. I mean, okay, in another organization or at a different time, maybe yes. I don't want to say he's not that good. I don't mean
No,
it like
no, I agree with you, but it's just like the
AEW
bluntness.
he's not bumping a John Moxley out of the way for a world title. He's not bumping a Will Ospreay out of the way for a world title. He's not beating an Okada or an Omega. I mean, that's those things aren't happening. Not at this time. So he's
Right.
still young. We'll see what his career ends up looking like. But at this point in time, so when I say I want more, I don't know exactly what that means. I just know I like the guy and I think he's a solid wrestler. So I feel like I want more. But he's on our TV a fair amount and he's on Collision quite often. I thought this was a good way to open the show. What do you think of this match? And then we'll talk about post match.
This was a good, this is a good match. I don't know who Blake Christian is before he came to AEW. I heard the name, but I haven't seen a match from him. So to that credit, it is like okay, just another dude right now. Unfortunately, match wise, it was pretty, like you said, pretty solid. I love that Dale Garcia changed his finisher. Nothing wrong with the sharpshooter, but it didn't like. There's nothing for me. The sharpshooter is so classic, where it's like you need something different to be your finisher. So the finisher of him was like a crazy suplex or something. I gotta rewind it. but more so a definitive. I'm a pin you 1, 2, 3. I think that's a good direction for him to go in. So I totally echo what you're saying of Blake Christian. Like he needs to link up with somebody, or sorry, somebody else to give him a little bit more heat or something. And this is why, not sure when it went away, but I miss weight divisions. I miss like, oh, cruiserweight, oh, X division, oh, this is the X division, where it's like at least when you separate them like that, you can get a chance to shine. And now everything's all jumbled up for the better or for worse. It is like, oh, because it's all together. You people who are smaller in size and lack specialness. I'm trying to be polite. There's
Yeah.
nothing you really can't shine like that. So that is something to be considered if anyone wants to consider that. But yeah, but like you said, Daniel Garcia should be definitely beating Blake Christian. So this was solid. It
Yeah.
was
I
a good
mean,
show.
it's tough when you've made a statement about how you want all your titles to basically be the same, because that basically means that you need a big main event star to be holding your title at all time, and as a result you don't really have any mid card titles, right? And some
Yeah,
of those titles should be there has to be something for the mid card guys to be competing for as well, right?
yeah,
And unfortunately it's really all the main event guys still competing for just the three big titles or four big titles. So you have like 10 guys competing for four titles and 30 guys that don't have any titles to compete for, or they've got to come up with a Frankenstein tag team to try to compete for a tag team title. So, which is unfortunate. I mean, they need some sort of a mid card title, which is what the international and the continental title I think were supposed to be, and then they
now it's the
yeah,
unified
and then and
title.
just Tony Khan's idea that he wants all the titles to be equal, whether even before unifying them. But yeah, I mean, once it's on a guy like Okada, it's really hard to put it on a guy like a Blake Christian, right? I mean, how do you get from here to there? So without lowering the profile of the title. So yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I'm not necessarily up for creating another title, but they've got to find some way to give the mid card guys more than just let's just fight to fight. Like
father.
there has to be some sort of motivation, and not just to try to get to the main event. Not that that's not solid motivation, but you got to get some sort of praise along the way too. So let's
Yeah,
see. So a post match, Tony Schiavone joins Daniel Garcia in the ring, um, but he doesn't want to. No, Tony says, "What did John say to you?" And Daniel says, "I'm not. I don't want to talk about that." He says he needs to get one over on John Moxley. So next week it needs to be John Moxley and Daniel Garcia one more time. Before I talk about the next little part, this actually irritated me here because one of the things that really frustrated me about the end of the Vince era was the repetition of matches over and over and over again. And I understand that Daniel Garcia is whatever, trying to break that. But Moxley's beat him 4 times in like the last 2 or 3 months. It's enough now. Like, how many times do you need one more time after he beats you this time? Is it going to be I need one more time? Like, how many times do we have to actually see it before either Tony Khan decides that Daniel Garcia is going to beat him somehow, or he moves on from this? So I was a little irritated by this. Wheeler Yuta came in from the crowd, told Daniel Garcia he should be careful what he wishes for as the Death Riders accept the challenge. They already beat the real Dragon, so they won't have any trouble whatsoever with Daniel Garcia. I'm assuming they're talking about Brian Daniels, and I'm
yeah,
not
yeah.
sure. Are they implying? I guess I don't. I never really thought of Daniel Garcia and Brian Danielson as like the best of friends, or like, So I mean, it seems a little weird to me or that Daniel Garcia is he picked up the mantle of Brian Danielson? Is that why? And pretending to be Brian Danielson? That's why you're calling it. That's why you're referring to Danielson as the real drag. Like, this caught me a little off guard. I wasn't totally sure what Wheeler Yuta meant by that line, but nonetheless, that's the end of the segment. Talk about the post match stuff.
Yeah. No, no, no. So I don't think they're trying to replace Danielson or give Garcia the American Dragon. More so of the whole technical wrestling aspect of it all. It's like, listen, we already slayed basically the goat of technical wrestling. So you're like, it'll be easy to defeat you and whatever you got going on. So I think that's what he was talking about. This was cool. This was fun. I am enjoying you to be, what's the word? Annoying. We're just like, sir. I'm not even sure you have the mic right now. You are still an underling. There is no you have not excelled in this freaking group to be on the mic and just saying stuff, sir. I'm just go somewhere about your business. But this was cool. Like I understand what they're going for. It's like they've only fought each other once this year, Garcia and Moxley. So in my mind, yeah, run it back real quick, nip it in the bud. This whatever this is with Garcia and the Death Riders should not be a long term story. It should be nipped in the bud within before October comes. It's like, hey, which one is it? Are you in or are you out? And it, like we don't need to be we've done the whole I'm conflicted thing. We don't need that right now. We do not need that right now. So please and thank you. Just tell us what's gonna happen. Yeah.
Yeah, and get to it. Tony Khan likes to drag stuff out, it feels like, and you got to get to it, right? Like sometimes WWE seemed, when I was watching it over the years, it seems like it was a little quick to either pull things or maybe a little too quick to the finish. But Tony Khan seems a little long in the finish as well. Like he likes to draw things out and just get to it
There's
already. Like the whole
there's a
MJF
time for
Hurt
both
Business stuff. Like
stories.
just get to what's going on already. Like
Yeah,
so,
there's a
unless of
time for
course the
both
story
sides.
is unless of course the story is bad and the story is just MJ, it's a storyline and this is really what you're doing, then I guess you can't help it. It is what it is if it's bad, but like do it, whatever.
Yeah.
But all right, Lexi Nair is with the conglomeration. But Roderick Strong cuts Lexi off with the Kyle, like he likes to do. I'm not gonna do the whole thing, but his
Kyle!
loud name calling like he used to do for Adam. Uh and O'Reilly and Kyle talk a little bit about the conglomeration and how Roderick's frustrated, but Kyle tells him the conglomeration is legit family. Um, Ishii has asked him for nothing except to fight beside him, which is exactly what Kyle intends to do in our next match. Did you want to talk about the little segment before? Or you want to talk about it after we talk about the match?
No, it's fine. What will I say? I it doesn't suck. I'm not sure how this helps Kyle and Roderick. And out of this time, I really need for them to get elevated faster. Right now,
Brother.
hey darling, as of
Good
right
morning, sir.
now, I need what's the word? The tag team division needs help. And these two are the best in the business. They're still the best in the business. And so whatever's going on in the collaboration, I'm out here for. But again, let's speed it up. Let's speed it up just a little bit. Yes.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not. I like Kyle O'Reilly, and I mean, I love Kyle O'Reilly. I love Roderick Strong. I like all the people in the conglomeration. I just don't know that this moves the needle a ton, if that makes sense.
Right.
Um, I all these guys are exciting, but again, I just don't know. I don't know. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, yeah. Again, you got to get to it. Like we've already had what now 3 or 4 little segments where Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong are arguing about the conglomeration and whether Roderick's gonna whatever or whatever. It's like you got to do something already. So Tyler says, my issue with AEW and SmackDown ratings is they're going to drop a few numbers because NFL football season starts. Yeah, I mean, I think that's true. I think that's kind of true for anything. I think NFL's dominates mostly everything when it's on. But at the same time, you know, both of these companies, as well as the TNAs, and some other smaller companies, they survive. I mean, their ratings drop, but they'll survive. I mean, they're not counter programming for the most part. I mean, I
Right.
guess when you have a pay-per-view on a Sunday night or on a Saturday night, potentially you're competing with NCAA football on Saturdays and maybe a game of the night on a Sunday. But for the most part, pay-per-views have moved to Saturday, and I don't know how much the NCAA, depending on what the game is taking away from views of wrestling. And I, you know, I am a fan of both. Anika is a fan of both football and wrestling, but
Yes.
I often wonder how many wrestling fans are actually football fans as well. So I don't know, you know what I mean? I'm not sure that they're, for the bulk of them, I don't know that it's a big, like, oh, I have to decide between watching, this or that. So SmackDown or a football game. So I don't know. What do you think?
I think there is a nice chunk of people who like football and wrestling. I want to tone to when I'm younger. I'm watching something like I was a full on either or fan. I was watching both. Well, I was watching wrestling, and my dad likes football. Then I go back ahead of time, and I'm like, how did I miss this? It probably was on a Monday Night Raw. So more so, Monday Night Raw will probably get the blunt end of this whole thing. Everyone else, like, there's nothing on Wednesdays, Fridays. There's nothing on Fridays. Yesterday they did have the Chiefs and the Chargers on YouTube. I think that's why
In
I was by
Brazil.
myself. But that we gonna go past that. But I'm like that they started Fridays last year, uh, doing football, and that's a very interesting concept for them. I'm like, why? In my mind, I'm like, y'all already went to Thursday. The Thursday just hold on by a thread. Why are we trying to do Fridays? So I don't think wrestling wise they have anything to worry about, in my opinion. Like besides Monday on Raw, to that I say WWE don't punk out. Don't punk out. Because you can tell when they're like, football's back. We don't want to do anything overly crazy because people aren't going to watch. That y'all are a streaming service. We're gonna watch tomorrow. The algorithm or whatever, the ratings stop, what you call it, building up on, like, you're on Monday. They stop counting them on Wednesday. So at least let people be like, I want to watch Tuesday what happened. So I'll say that. But besides that, they should be fine.
Yeah, I agree. All right. So let's see. We had the first or the second match of the night. The Don Callis family, Kyle Fletcher and Josh Alexander versus Tomohiro Ishii and Kyle O'Reilly of the aforementioned conglomeration. Don Callis is on commentary. I he's so great as far as just being like the slimy guy that just makes you hate him. I mean, everything he does is just so hateable,
Oh,
and he's so
hate.
good at doing it. But it's not go for me. It's not go away heat. I mean, it's good heat. Like it's that good heel heat, right? Where like he's so good at what he does that you hate him. But like I don't necessarily want him to go away. I don't think AEW would be better without Don Callis. I think the Don Callis family, I worry about factions that get too big just because they dominate too much. And so I
Mm-hmm.
don't want them to end up with 30 guys in the Don Callis family, Bullet, i.e.,
Right.
Bullet Club or NWO. I think that, 4 or 5 guys in a faction seems like more than enough. So in that regard, I don't want the family to get too big, but I like Don Callis in AEW, and I think he's good for AEW overall, both, on screen and off screen. So, um,
No. Yeah, he's
let's see.
definitely
So this
good.
tag team match was, huh?
Mm. I was saying, no, he's definitely good for AEW. That's a very good
Yeah.
buy, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. Solid tag team matches, you would imagine. All 4 of these guys are extremely solid wrestlers. Ishii serving headbutts and lots of big strikes. Josh Alexander did get the win here with the C4 spike, which was nice to see Josh Alexander get the win.
Now,
We've
also,
talked a little bit about feeling kind of like Josh Alexander has been, maybe his specialness is being a little overshadowed in the Don Callis family, that he's been kind of relegated behind Fletcher and Takeshita a little, and that he we want more for him, maybe even away from the Don Callis family, ideally for me. Um, but in the meantime, at least here he did get the win, and he was able to. They both looked really good, and I thought the match was solid, a little over 12 minutes or so. And yeah, I really enjoyed this. What did you think of this match?
it was a good match. I love my Ishii, but he tends to be losing when he's over here, so that sucks. I do agree that yes, John Alexander, please, sorry, drop. Give him more wins. Give him more wins. Thank you. Like he didn't have to be on the same level as Takeshita and Fletcher, but he should be a good third. Whereas like you should be concerned when you wrestle him. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, I have to face Josh Alexander. It's gonna be a hard person to beat. At least give me that. So it was good. It was fine. But yeah, I want my Ishii to win before he go back to Japan.
Yeah, I mean, I understand. I kind of understand why the Don Callis family is winning, just because they're, you know, the big with them and the Death Riders, the 2 big factions at the moment, and they're on, they're on the on an upward trajectory and all those things. So they're pushing him. So I get it. But yeah, I mean, it's disappointing. What's disappointing to me, like you said, is just that Ishii has kind of come over here and become a guy that just takes losses. Another, he looks good in taking losses, but he just takes losses, right? Which is tough. Um, again, I'm gonna say it. It sounds terrible because I say it all the time. I want more for Ishii on the U.S. soil. To be fair, he is the strong, never open weight champion or whatever. So he's holding a title for New Japan Wrestling. So at least
But
that's
no
something,
one's
I guess.
watching it at 5 o'clock in the morning. Okay, a lot of people are not watching it at 5 o'clock in the morning.
uh, Jamie Hayter is backstage attacking Thekla. These two have been fighting it out for a little while now, and they come to break it up. Thekla manages to get away, and she dives off of, I don't know what it even was, some sort of a raised platform at a box. I don't even know what it was, but she
Like
jumped
they're
off of something
like
on
a
the
truck or something. Yeah.
right, yeah, it was a big crossbody onto Jamie Hayter, who was being surrounded by security guards, and ultimately they had to be broken up by security guards. Jamie Hayter was wearing her out in the very beginning. When it went to the backstage, I thought Jamie Hayter was going to kill her at first, and then Tekla got away a little bit and was able to kind of do a couple things, and it became a little more. And then security basically broke it up. But what about Jamie Hayter and Tekla?
I agree. No, I was watching it, and it's like, ma'am, I think you have to realize this is supposed to be less painful. Like when Jamie Hayter, when she got the boxes, she was wailing on Tekla. Like, girl, I get. It is real life, I get it, but this is not. So, like calm yourself. I would love to see Tekla's stomach or back after the brawl, because you can't tell me she ain't got some freaking cardboard marks all over her. Come on, she was going full force. I get that this was supposed to be the rivalry when Tekla returned, which is fine. I want more for Jamie Hayter. She's been in this mid card for too long, in my opinion. It's time for her to go for the big one. If y'all want to position her to beat Tony Storm, I'm all here for it. But we do need to get some serious reps to make her ready for that, in my opinion. But this brawl was crazy. I was definitely in it with that. This brawl was insane.
Yeah, I agree. I thought, yeah, I enjoyed this. It looked like Jamie was going to really hurt her in the beginning. It was all over. So no, I thought this was very good. Tekla's got a couple coals in the fire, and it's kind of interesting. It's going to be interesting to see where she comes out. Like they're definitely pushing Triangle of Madness in the women's division as a whole,
Which
and
is good.
she's got a feud with Willow and a couple other things. Oh, and another woman she was fighting with. Why am I drawing a blank on the other woman she's been fighting with? But there's another woman
Carly?
too. Uh,
No.
no, 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 no. I feel like I don't know. It'll come to me at some point. But nonetheless, so I'm here for Jamie Hayter and Thekla. I think Thekla has the
Kramanada.
uh yeah, the ability to be a main event women's superstar. And I think that that's ultimately kind of what Tony Khan has his eyes on with her. And so if that's the goal and these two, end up working their way being pushed kind of together in this feud back to the main event picture, that I'm here for. But Jimmy Hayter needs to be competing with Mercedes and Tony and Tony Storm for those
Yes.
titles eventually, or who's ever holding those titles. She's a main event superstar. You don't have enough of them in the women's division at the moment, and I think Thekla is too. So, Sky Blue and Julia Hart are not. So I don't, Triangle of Madness is what it is, but I think Thekla's a superstar. So, um,
No.
and especially with what feels like kind of maybe a little bit of a down division at the moment. And that's not taking anything away from Tony Storm or from, Mercedes or from Athena, but okay. Let's not a very deep women's main event
Yeah.
roster at the moment. You're
We'll
missing
talk.
your Britt Bakers, you're missing your Thunder Rosas, you're missing your, I mean, I guess Megan Bain is moving up that ladder a little bit, but I mean, a lot of the women's stuff feels like mid card stuff, right? It's mostly Chris Statlanders. It's a lot of Chris Statlander, a lot of Willow. As much as I love Willow, they're booking her as a mid carder. So they need to expand that main event women's circle. So, and Jimmy Hayter should be in that circle for sure.
Yeah. More is gonna come out of
Uh,
more, but they do need for more so Tony Storm, we're running out of competitors.
Yeah, for sure. Uh, the next segment, which I thought was the by far the worst segment of the show for me, mostly just because I think it was totally unnecessary. So you have Kip Sabian and Mother Wayne and Kill Switch, and Kip, who doesn't matter, Sabian, nobody cares about Sabian, is
Oh,
mad at Kill Switch and blaming Kill Switch and for their loss that they took at Forbidden Door to Copeland and Cage. I mean, the fact that Kip Sabian thought that they were actually beating Copeland and Cage just further shows me how delusional he is. And Mother Wayne essentially tells him to you need to take a walk to calm down, go away. And as he walks off, you see Killswitch just kind of sit there and breathe in and out, irritated. Um, for the reason I say that this is just because Killswitch doesn't talk, Mother Wayne needs a lot of work on the microphone still. You can tell she's not experienced. And Kip Sabian is what he is and doesn't move the needle for me. I mean, he's not a bad talker, but he's not a good talker either. And it just didn't there's nothing in here except for Luchasaurus slash Killswitch that I care about between these three. And he's not doing anything. He doesn't talk, he just stands there and you can't even see his facial expressions really. You can hear him breathing and his body looks irritated, but like with the mask on, you can't even really get the full gist of how he's. So it just fell flat for me. I thought this missed its mark. This could have just not taken place at all. What do you think of this?
um, this should have been during the match. Like when I say this should have been done during the match, I said this. I said a version of this earlier. We all love Kill Switch, so when he came back, we were kind of conflicted. Like we get that we love Christian now, but he did do Kill Switch wrong. I would have loved they would have done the turnaround in the match where it's like Kill Switch does which calls choke slams Kip Sabian, and then that's when Christian and Adam Cole did the 1, 2, 3. So unfortunately, sorry, brain farts will come. Mother Wayne and Kip Sabian and Nick Wayne, that's where we go. Nick Wayne are they got a big hill to climb as being trying to convince us that they're a credible threat. And now Nick Wayne is his foot hurts. Mother Wayne and Kip Sabian have a bigger hill to climb, unfortunately. So in my opinion, yeah, just cut the losses and just turn Killswitch back to Luchasaurus and and let him go off by himself or join someone else's faction. But this is a very low group. I'll just leave it there.
um, let's see. Tyler's got a couple comments here. We'll get to before we move on real quick. Tyler says he feels like we're gonna get Okada versus Takeshita soon. Yeah, I mean, I think that that's a matchup that everybody wants at some point, and yeah, I mean, they're definitely circling, in the same orbits in the main event picture, and yeah, it's just a matter of time before those two end up head to head. I'm not a big Okada fan, but the match itself should be great. I love Takeshita, so what do you think about Okada and Takeshita soon?
No, they've been teasing it for a year and a half. They teased it last year, and I'm not sure what happened where it didn't happen. Like it wasn't long time storybooking. It felt like y'all just put it to the side until bringing it back. So hopefully this year we'll get it finally in an actual rivalry. I have more
Yeah.
thoughts on Dynamite about whole Tesla situation, but as of right now, yes, I would definitely love to catch the versus Okada. I would definitely love that.
Tyler says I think the Don Callis family is carrying AEW now. I mean, I definitely, they've definitely he's
Well,
got many main event guys, and they're getting a lots of TV time. I mean, I think it's them and the Death Riders that really are the two at the top of as far as factions carrying AEW. But yeah, what do you think about that comment?
no, no. As of right now, especially with all the injuries, where Swerve is gone, Osprey's
Osprey's
gone,
gone.
Omega got hurt, so it feels like he's gonna be out for at least a couple of weeks. It's like, yeah, so it's like they're definitely I'm not gonna say carrying, but they're a good chunk of AEW right now. I'll give it 45, 55%, give or take. But yeah,
Yeah.
they are definitely a cornerstone, a nice little chunk of it. Yeah.
And Tyler's asking, where is Camille? So she got injured and then she didn't come back. I get notifications from NWA, and I swear I got a notification saying Camille was wrestling in NWA a couple weeks ago. So I don't know if that means that she's no longer with AEW, and I don't know, or if she's just whatever's going on. But I'm not totally sure exactly what's going on with Camille. Do you have any information on Camille at all?
Unfortunately, that might I don't have any concrete information, but it feels like that's the case. It feels like the case. Her and Mercedes. I'm not sure why it didn't work, but it just didn't, and she got hurt, and so we really couldn't fulfill the dream, and it really sucks.
What's up, Dolores? Good morning. That's Dolores, our incredible producer. Every
Mwah.
graphic you see, every ticker you see, she's created. So thank you very much, Miss
Do you
Dolores. We love you. I hope your ankle heals fast.
no
And
no? I hope the ankle stays hurt, Miss. I want to skip because AJ Lee was skipping. That's how she hurt the ankle. Yeah.
Uh, if you don't know Dolores, Dolores has her own channel, just a pink girl living in a pink world. So if she drops her or Dolores, please drop your YouTube link in the chat. Everyone, please go over there and check her out. Subscribe to her channel. She does all sorts of stuff, covers wrestling. She does arts and crafts. She covers TV. She talks about all sorts of stuff, plays fun games and all sorts of stuff. So she's always got something exciting going on over there. So make sure and go and check out Dolores's YouTube channel as well. Um, we love and support her very much over here at Workhorse Wrestling Network. So let's see. Okay. Moving on. Let's see. Hologram versus this is kind of a very interesting mishmash of like I was talking about. It felt like a house show. Like the show opened with what I would call definitely a mid card match, right? With Blake Christian and Daniel Garcia. I mean, you can
Yeah.
argue where Daniel Garcia's positioning is at the moment. Blake Christian is definitely mid card, and then we had what I would call basically a main event tag team match, right? Because you got, I mean, Tomohiro Ishii and O'Reilly are what they are, but Fletcher and Alex, well, Fletcher for sure. The Don Callis family is definitely, as Tyler just said, carrying AEW at the moment, so they're a big deal. And then we're back to what feels kind of like a house show match. We got Hologram, who is a mainstay on Collision, versus the guy that I have not seen in quite a while on TV anywhere, really, Mr. Jay Lethal, the incredible Jay Lethal. I Here's another guy that like man, when AEW started, I thought AEW was going to be the perfect venue for a guy like Jay Lethal to actually be able to um, achieve some of the things in his career that maybe he hadn't yet. And so, and that didn't really seem to happen. Not that I think that I don't think that Jay Lethal has lacked in, accomplishments, but I would say that they've been maybe not some of the I mean, let's say he hasn't had his WrestleMania moment. Let's put it that way, right? Like his career has not really ever led to that. He's had titles and stuff in smaller companies and all those things. His name is well known. His name precedes him. Everyone knows who Jay Lethal is. Even if you don't know him for his wrestling, you know him for his Randy Savage impersonations or all of his antics that he does on the mic, those kind of things. And he's created himself a niche. But I really was hoping that Jay Lethal would be a much bigger part of AEW when it started than he's ever been. That said, I thought this match was good. I'm gonna spill the beans here. If anyone doesn't know, I don't know that this means anything to Anika because she probably doesn't know who he is. But I found out I was 49 years old when I found out yesterday that Hologram is actually Aramis. So I don't know if you remember Aramis, but Aramis is a very well-known Mexican wrestler and he's been around for a long time. And I think he had a stint with. He was definitely in Ring of Honor for a little while, and I think he might have had a couple AEW matches under the name, like on Dark and Dark Elevation, under the name Aramis. And now he is Hologram. So that was interesting to me because I had to look it up. I had to find out. I had to spoil it for myself and find out who Hologram was under the mask because I was just curious. Who was that? And so yes, so apparently it is
Baby.
Aramis, which is interesting. So Hologram, Jay Lethal, very solid match, a little under 10 minutes. Hologram gets the win, as you would imagine, because he is currently 30-0. in AEW. I think
On
all 30 of
Collision.
those wins have been on Collision. Let's say he's 30-0 on Collision,
Yep.
because I don't think he has a win on Dynamite recently. So,
You don't
um,
wrestle, yeah.
and it is what it is. I mean, he beat Jay Lethal, I guess, at this point on Collision. Hologram should be beating Jay Lethal. The match itself was good. Again, I guess I want more for Jay Lethal. I don't know. I want to keep saying that for everybody, but that's how I feel when I see these guys that I love that I feel like aren't getting enough or aren't on TV enough. What do you think of this match and Jay Lethal and Hologram in
Jay
general?
Jay Lethal is definitely a dropped ball, unfortunately. And it's just like strike while the iron is hot. It feels like wrestling, whatever company you're watching, just doesn't know how to do that. And in my mind, him and it was hilarious, but they should have kept it. Him and Jeff Jarrett winning the tag team titles. Y'all should have kept it for a month. That was a good when they were together and Mark Briscoe joined the fray. That was a good time. That was definitely a good freaking time.
This is a relevant comment. Laura says it goes back to the other day's
Yeah.
comment about what black talent have they really pushed outside of Swerve. And unfortunately, Jay Lethal does belong in that conversation.
And like for some reason y'all just don't know when Sharp Brother Iron's hot, and I feel like if y'all would just let them be champions for the month, he'd be in a better position. But then fast forward, even if he doesn't win that, where the freak has he been? Where the freak has he been? I know that Jeff Jarrett was doing his whole retirement thing, and that went up in flames because it's Jeff Jarrett trying to be Jeff Jarrett. It's like as soon as they said Jeff Jarrett is going for the world championship, I'm like, this is okay. Y'all okay. Y'all went really. We were on a momentum, like we were doing something nice where it was him helping the young people, and the Owen Hart Cup definitely pushed it, and then y'all just pushed it over the cliff with I want to be world heavyweight champion. It's like, okay, all right, it's over. And then the whole thing with MJF didn't help none at all. But I'm not sure like why does that what's that to do with Jay Lethal? I'm not sure why does that do with Jay Lethal at all. So it's nice to see him back on the television screen. It's nice to know that he still has a job. So yada all that, but Hologram is the main on Collision. Hologram is the important wrestler in this dynamic. It was very much so fine, and yeah.
After the match, we got some weird glitches on the Titantron, and then Hex had said Clon or CLON activated. I don't know what that is, but I guess we saw a guy that's looks kind of like hologram, but a different color scheme. I'm not totally sure what it was, but there was a figure on the screen for a minute. So it looks like we're getting something coming in, and it has to do with hologram. Well, what did you think of the little post match segment with the?
I'm somewhat interested to see where this goes. We all said that Hologram's winning, but there's no point if he doesn't go for a title. So maybe a little quick change up, a different side of him, maybe gets him there sooner. So at the very least, I'm interested to see what happens.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what ends up happening. I'm curious to see how they play it out. Just to see if it's good or bad, right? Because these things can go either way so easily, right?
Yeah.
Um, let's see. MVP is with the Hurt Syndicate. They said that Ricochet and the Gates of Agony have put themselves in an unwinnable situation. It's actually like a split where you get MVP and the Hurt Syndicate talking for a couple minutes, then they're done, and then Ricochet, and then so it's like a Ricochet then says at the end of the war, them being the Gates of Agony and Ricochet will have. I'm sorry. Ricochet says that the Hurt Syndicate will respect Ricochet and uh, the Gates of Agony by the time that this war is over. Anything you want to say about these two kind of battling promos? They weren't battling promos because they weren't in the ring together, but like video segments that talk about each other back to back, I guess.
No, I like when they do that. I like when they do the battle where they like it's like a call and response promo. It's actually really good. The best one recently was when it was Jay White versus Hangman. I actually love that where Heyman started yelling, "You real life think they're gonna let me win in a pay per view that was named after me?" Like, no matter what, one, two, three, comes up. So I actually do love that economy of that when it's done right. This was fine, and I hope both parties comes out okay after this feud. This feud feels like it should have been done earlier. It felt like after Ricochet got hemmed up and then he went heel and swerve, he should have immediately went after Hurt Syndicate. This feels like a after. This feels like a answer to a question of Hurt Syndicate wants to be in control of who they drop the titles to. So that whole thing happened, and we need someone else to feud with. So we're going to feud with them, but they're not champions. So I'm hoping everyone after this program comes out better than what they came into.
No, I mean, this is, for me, I thought this was fun. I mean, I like MVP and the Hurt Syndicate. I'm not the biggest Bobby Lashley fan, but I love MVP and I love Shelton Benjamin. And I'm a big fan of Ricochet. And I'm the Gates of Agony. I've always appreciated them, but they're growing on me. I feel like finally they've
Yeah.
taken the muzzle off a little bit and the leash off the Gates of Agony a little bit. And they actually have some personality and they're actually fun. I mean, I enjoy listening to both Bishop Khan and Toa Leona's promos. I think they're solid, especially Bishop Khan. So I'm kind of wondering why it's taken them so long to let them have a little bit more leash and let them talk a little bit more because they've been around for a
Like
while and it feels like they've held them silent for a long time and I don't know. I mean, they don't seem to need any.
unfortunately, AEW has a problem starting and finishing stories. Like when they were with Swerve in the embassy, I'm like, okay, they're with Swerve, it's gonna get elevated, and then it's like, no, we're just gonna drop them. It's like, why? This was a
Yeah.
perfect match. Let them win the title while they're the AEW. Because no offense to ROH, but ROH titles matter little. So like, yes, let them win the AEW tag team title with Swerve. There's no, we're not gonna do nothing with them. Okay, fine. So again, it's just like just letting them shine when you give them their moment.
So this is an interesting comment from Tyler. He says, I think Tony Khan needs to sign more wrestlers like young talent and then develop them. I think the problem with that is that the roster is already so stacked that there's no real room. I mean, and when you've taken away shows like Dark and Dark Elevation, which felt like
And
areas
Rampage.
where these guys could actually grow and advance, and put all those guys essentially down to Ring of Honor, which not a lot of people are watching. There's not a lot of eyes on. It's behind the pay window, and it is what it is. I mean, Ring of Honor has always had its kind of like niche fans, and all those things. But as far as getting to like a major stage, it just hasn't ever been there and it doesn't look like that's happening. So, I yes, I agree with that. I mean, I think there's a fine line between having veterans and young guys on your roster. Um, but you got to remember they do have some young guys as well, or guys that aren't what I would call old either, too, that are good, right? I mean, you've got the
Yeah.
MJFs who's still in his 20s, right? Osprey who's only 31. You've got or 30 or whatever. I mean, you've got a fair amount of guys that are still young and very talented. Kyle Fletcher is what 23 or 24. Takeshita is still in his 20s. Like, so I mean, I think right now they have a pretty good balance. But yes, overall, I mean, Tony Khan needs to have some sort of a NXT, FCW, OVW developmental pipeline situation, and if that's Ring of Honor, that's fine. The problem is there's just not a lot of eyes on the Ring of Honor product in general. So, what do you think about this comment?
I think we have too many new people. No offense. Like, like no offense. As of right now, our established people who have made a name for themselves are out, and the new guys are not ready to step up, unfortunately. And so, talking about Blake Christian, talking about Dan Garcia, talking about no offense, but Jack Perry is actually still not, he's not a veteran yet in my eyes. He's had some reps, but he's not a veteran where he can hold up the mantle. So like honestly, I think we need more people to hold the mantle and get these guys ready to go to the main roster. That's actually what I think. Where
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, we have enough new people, and we're not using them. We're not elevating. More so, we need to elevate them.
Next, we have Anika's favorite women's wrestler at the moment, the lovable, beautiful Miss Will Osprey,
I'm punching your face because
Alex
you're doing a
Windsor.
lot. You're doing the most. You are
I'm
doing the
trolling
most.
Anika bad right now. Miss
The
Alex
most.
Windsor in a match. against Ashley Bach. I don't know if you want to call it a match. It lasted all of, I think, over a little over 60 seconds. It was 60, yeah, it was a little over a minute. Definitely a squash here for Alex Windsor. Um, and then Tony Schiavone comes to the ring, much like he did after Daniel Garcia beat Blake Christian earlier in the night. I see a reoccurring theme here. Tony Schiavone comes to the ring, asks for Alex Windsor's thought on Mercedes Moné, putting her in a Mercedes comments about putting her in a hospital bed next to her husband. And Alex says Mercedes can't handle the fact that illegal or not. I made her tap. And that Mercedes crossed the line and that doesn't go unnoticed. Alex told her, put her money where her mouth is, put the title on the line here in Philly. There's a price to pay when you mess with Alex Windsor. I kind of like the Windsor at the end. I like the way she does that. What do you think of this squash match for Ashley Vox? I always feel bad for someone that gets squashed. I mean, like I said, we've talked about this before. You get the opportunity, you're on TV, you're against someone like Alex Windsor, who's currently is competing for a title at the moment. So it is what it is. It's like probably a lifetime moment for her, but at the same time, it's like it's like I lasted 1 minute and I got squashed. So it is what it is. But what about the match and then the promo?
No. So in my mind, squash matches are like you just don't do nothing. Some are just showcase matches where it's like, listen, you're not the focal point. We just gotta focus on Alex Windsor. So right now you're gonna be the vessel to focus on Alex Windsor. So we're gonna call this a showcase match more than a squash. But Alex Windsor is still new to AEW, so he definitely needs more wins. So this was definitely served its purpose. I like the promo to Mercedes Moné. Nice, clean, cut to the point. You can probably tell me more than I can look it up or what. Sorry, you can probably tell me when she was in Rev Pro. What was her character? What was her persona? Like what was the vibe she was pulling off when she was in Rev Pro?
I've never really paid that much attention to Rev Pro.
Okay. Oh, okay. So fair enough. I asked that because I'm
No,
like,
I just know her name. I just know that I've heard the name before. I'm not
yeah,
familiar with her as in Rev Pro now.
but yeah, but no,
Dolores,
yes, yeah.
excuse
Because
me, if
Dolores,
Dolores is here. Dolores is our independent wrestling guru, and you know, so if she knows anything or can provide any insight about what Alex Windsor's character was in Rev Pro, or what she
yeah,
please do. But no, I personally don't know. I'm not familiar. I think I've only seen a couple Rev Pro matches, and they were all ones I watched on YouTube. Seeking out, match against Will Ospreay versus so and so, and I wanted to, and it happened to be a Rev Pro match, like that kind of thing. But I don't think I've ever actually watched a Rev Pro show at all, from beginning to end, or anything, or a pay per view. So I mean,
no,
this is really my. Other than knowing her name, I've heard the name Alex Windsor before. This is really the first like introduction I've had with her as well. So, um,
I asked because
but I mean, she
this.
looks good. She looks solid. I mean, listen, if we're going to give AJ Lee a leg to stand on because she has a ring and trains with CM Punk, well, Alex Windsor is married to the best wrestler in the world at the moment, on the planet at the moment. So if they're training it all together, she can't come out. She can't do anything but come out better, right? So the same. So that's
Does that have to do with the price of tea in China? Okay. Either way, I say that because more so, I think I saw Red Pro and like she actually was holding on to a bunch of titles herself, and she felt and like the promo I saw, I think it was before all out, all in. What was that one? Forbidden Door. Sweet Jesus. I think it was Forbidden Door before like her promo was basically. Can she get her other title? Like she actually was holding on to a title, and she actually was a badass. I'm like, in my mind, she's still new, and we still have to hone in on who she is as a character. And even though I do love that she was a nice little addition to Tony Storm, her by herself, she should just be a badass. Like she should just be coming in, beating people up, and that's it to that point. So if y'all can, I think if she leans more into that, it will just hype her up more by herself. But this was a good, this decent promo, just clean cut to the point. I don't like
Uh,
being like the whimsicalness of other people is very hard to come across as a winner. In my in my opinion, in my opinion. So I'm like, I just need a little bit more seriousness. I just know.
sense. Next, we got Lexi Nair. She's speaking with with Mark Briscoe and Don Callis. They've agreed to no physicality in the promo during this segment. Briscoe says he's issued a challenge to Kyle Fletcher for the TNT title, but hasn't heard anything, and he wants an answer. Callis says they're a little busy with the ocean of talent that all wants a shot at Kyle Fletcher. He does respect Briscoe, though, so he will pick a member of the Don Callis family, and we'll see how Briscoe does. And Briscoe is, not necessarily whatever, but somewhat content with the least that he's getting to wrestle somebody from the Don Callis family. What do you think about this little?
Good segment. I love Josh. I love Mark Briscoe. Um, we know who he chose, and I have so many thoughts of who they chose to face Mark Briscoe to get to Cal Fletcher, but never the freaking less, uh, Don Callis is right. There's a sea of people who are waiting to get to Cal Fletcher, and more so, Don Callis family is doing this thing right now. So I approve all of this. This was fine.
Uh, FTR versus Adam Pierce and JD Drake. No of note, no big soap tonight after what happened on Dynamite on Wednesday with Copeland. Um, the Adam Pierce and JD Drake are members of the Workhorsemen with Anthony Henry. We don't see a whole lot of Adam Pierce, or I don't. I mean, we don't see a whole lot of them because they're behind the pay window at Ring of Honor. But normally, when we see them, it's usually Anthony Henry and JD Drake. I haven't seen a whole lot of Adam Pierce and JD Drake together. It really ultimately doesn't matter because these guys are fodder for FTR. FTR gets the win, a little under 9 minutes. Again, they FTR, in something that they always seem to do. They're very giving. All their opponents, they never what I would call squash anybody. It doesn't feel that way, right? They always seem to give their opponents a little bit of time to look decent. And I thought there
Mm-hmm.
were moments
Yeah.
here where both JD Drake and Adam Pierce looked good, and I thought that they made him look a little more overpowered than they should have at times. But FTR is good at that, and they ended up getting the win and still looking very strong when it came all said and done. I enjoyed this. I'm a big workhorseman fan. I like JD Drake. I like Anthony Henry. Like I said, I
Yeah.
don't have a ton of. I know Adam Pierce from other stuff. Like I don't really have a lot of experience with him teaming with these guys now. He's a new addition, or recently new. Um, but yeah, I mean, and FTR is FTR. So I enjoyed this. I thought it was good. Again, not a lot of predictability. I mean, I never think that the Workhorsemen are beating FTR, but at the same time, FTR puts on a good match. So there were moments where it was like, no, they're not going to actually do this right, where someone can get a pin. But at the same time, it still makes it a little more exciting than just a regular squash match. And then we'll talk about post match. What do you think of the match?
It was very good. FTR, arguably the best tag team in the world right now. It's very hard to debate that at this point, especially when you're doing so many good matches with people who are not the main event tag team. It's like they're like they literally don't care who they face. They're going to do a good job. And Workhorsemen are no slouches. I love them. I want to say I was watching GCW, and it's just like I wish you're in a panorama. I feel like Tony Khan had given people a lot of chances to shine. And Workhorsemen were one of them. And I wish that happens now. It's like, oh, we're out of panorama. Now we got to close ranks. No, you don't have to close ranks. You can you still share the wealth. And like I said, I love Horsemen, but FTR are definitely arguably a great tag team of this generation. And this all worked. It did.
Yeah, post match, Cash grabs the mic and calls out Adam Copeland. Says this isn't about Copeland, it's about FTR. They should be 3-time AEW Tag Team Champions, 11 times overall. But Adam Copeland always has to make it about him. This isn't about their past. This is about the FTR legacy. In Toronto, they end it. Dax picks up the mic and says he's not going to yell or scream. He says Stoke isn't here because of Copeland and Cage. This could have been a dream match. Two teams, two eras, one destiny. A match no one thought would ever happen. But CNC, but CNC ruined it. It's now a charity exhibition for two men who made their name with three letters 20 years ago. TLC. Now you're looking at the absolute best tag team of all time who built their name on three little letters. FTR. They have to end this. They're going to end CNC's career in Toronto. Yeah, top guys out. So I so is the reference to TLC implying that the stipulation is going to be TLC by the time this match comes around?
I I
What do you
don't
think?
know. I don't know. The better question is, do I want that? We just talked to
Well, there is that.
FTR. What like we just talked to FTR, and FTR is the great tag team wrestlers. Don't get me wrong. They can do Extreme Rules, but I don't think I want it for their first match. Their matchup. I feel like this is a good program between FTR and CNC, and it feels like it shouldn't be a one and done. It should be a one 2 out of 3 wins the rivalry. So TLC being their first match should not happen. Now flip it over, their first match is going to be in Canada. So it's like, do y'all want to make it extra special for Canada? Even, like, because like right now it's not for the tag team title, so let's rev it up by doing a TLC match, or just wait it off. It's hard to do a TLC match the first match of the rivalry, because like where do you go from there? TLC matches and Hell in a Cell matches and Texas Death matches. It should be the conclusion of a rivalry. So, in my opinion, I don't think that should be the first match. The first match should be an old school wrestling match, in my opinion. You can do it later,
Yeah,
but
I mean,
not first.
no, I agree. I think that this is going to be a fun program. Um, even though they're not necessarily what I would call young, probably in life years, um, it does feel like FTR is more in their prime still. This does feel a little like it could have happened 5 years ago, and it would have been a little bit hotter, just because
Yeah.
everyone would have been a little bit younger. Definitely Christian and Copeland. I feel like you see a little bit more of the it's interesting. Neither of them look like neither Christian or Copeland look as like as old as say like a Tanahashi does, or but
Yeah, they
and they're
definitely don't
young
look that
and
old. No.
he's a little younger and he's a little younger than both of them. So they've done a good job of still remaining in good shape and still looking good.
Yes.
So it doesn't feel like they're necessarily as old as they are. There is a little bit of this is FTR versus Christian Cage, which is great, but it is a match that could have happened 5, 10 years ago too, and would have been better, right? So it is what it is, but I'm excited for it nonetheless. I love these guys, all four of them, so I'm very excited to see where it goes ultimately. Lexi Nares with the Don Callis family again, talking about how they had an impressive win earlier in the night with Josh Alexander and Kyle Fletcher beating Ishii and Kyle O'Reilly. Um, Dallas mentions that Briscoe needs to get in line. He said he's excited to see Alexander do what he was brought here to do. Josh Alexander then says Kenny Omega better train for Dynamite because he's putting them down for good. Fletcher says he'll deal with Briscoe like he dealt with his conglomeration buddies, um, and that the family will not move aside for anybody. So I thought this was solid. A lot of times we get mostly Don Callis talking. I thought he shared the mic a little more here, and I was happy to see Josh Alexander get a few lines on the mic. He doesn't talk a whole lot, and like I said, I think one of the things that happens sometimes in big factions, especially when you have guys you want to push, is that other guys join and you have all the best of intentions, but there's only so much time, right? And you have to choose who gets to say what and do what, right? And it feels like
Yeah.
So far, Josh Alexander might have been a little bit down that list, but here he got some time to actually talk. He got to address Kenny Omega. Yes, it's not a one-on-one match on Dynamite; it is a multi-man match. But it sounds like Josh Alexander has his eyes set on Kenny Omega. I'm here for Josh Alexander versus Kenny Omega in some sort of one-on-one program at some
Woo!
point. Like that. Talk about moving the needle. That moves my needle all the way, all the way. So I'm here for that. Um, and if for no other reason than just Josh Alexander getting the nod and people recognizing how good he really is and that he deserves to be in a program with a guy like a Kenny Omega, who's one of the best wrestlers on the world. So yeah, I enjoyed this. I thought this was fine. I mean, as much as you could enjoy a Callis family promo, I thought it hit on what it needed to, and I enjoyed it. What do you think of it?
Agreed. No, definitely agree. You said Josh Alexander. This is the push that we want Josh Alexander to have. Thankfully, him versus Kenny Omega, you would definitely have to hype that up a little bit more. Like in ring wise, it's gonna be banger. But just to give the threat that Josh Alexander might be Kenny Omega, you might have to work on that just a little bit. But again, I'm with you. I do not mind them going in the ring one time. I do not.
We had a match next between Juice Robinson, who's here with Austin Gunn, and the Jay White and Colton Gunn cutouts.
And
Bang bang.
side note, they have the lights on their faces. They're not in the dark when they do the wraparound shot. Like, thank you. Now you can actually see what the freak they're doing. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, no, the cutouts are brilliant. I think it's amazing. The whole Bang Bang Gang is great just in general. I'm
Yes.
here for at this moment. I'm here for basically anything they do. But it's Juice Robinson who is regrowing his facial hair. Thankfully, I like him much better with facial hair than I do without facial
It
hair.
it it was weird. It was very much so weird.
In a one-on-one match with Big Bill. Big Bill, of course, has his buddy Brian Keith with him, as they are inseparable at the moment. Uh, and this is what you would expect it to be. It was hard hitting. It was they had some big spots. Big Bill basically threw Juice into an arena pole at one point, like a lawn dart. Um, Juice bit Big Bill's ear. Juice is a little out of
Just a
control.
little bit.
Big Bill does get the win. After Brian Keith kind of distracts him by getting up on the apron, Austin comes over and gets him, but Juice actually knocks him off the apron, and then he's distracted, which ends up in a black hole slam, and Big Bill gets the win for 1, 2, 3. Um, the problem with Big Bill getting the win here, I mean, I think that the Bang Bang Gang is the bigger deal here when it comes down to it, and so it is what it is. But I think that I mean, Jay obviously Jay White is the captain, the main focal
Yes.
point, the big
Yes.
star of the Bang Bang Gang when he's around.
Yes.
I would say that in the pecking order for me, probably Juice Robinson is next, and then Austin and Colton in whatever order you want to put them. So in this regard, I mean, it makes sense, I guess, that Juice or that didn't. I guess I thought Juice might get the win here, but again, Big Bill is
Yeah.
formidable. He's tough. He's strong. He's been beating people up for a while now. They've been pushing him, not pushing him, but pushing him as much as they have been. Right, putting him with Jericho, giving him more time on TV. We've seen Big Bill quite a bit and Brian Keith quite a bit. I mean, they're on TV a lot. They get a lot of TV time. I wouldn't say this is a rare win for Big Bill. It's definitely Brian Keith doesn't get a lot of wins.
Yeah.
As a tag team, they're kind of 50-50 or so. I think Big Bill seems to get singles wins when he has the singles matches for the most part. Short of, I mean, he hasn't had anything big time for a title or anything. Um, so, I don't know. This was fine. I mean, I still think that Bang Bang Gang is really the bigger deal here, as much as I like Brian Keith and Big Bill. So, in that regard, it is what it is with Big Bill getting the win. But I think that Juice versus Big Bill, probably Big Bill gets the win. He's a little bigger and a little stronger and a little whatever. So, what do you think of the match? And Big Bill getting the win.
This was fun. I enjoyed this. This was very, very fun. Juice and Big Bill, crazy enough, had a very good chemistry. It as tag team rivals. this was a toss up, which is great when you have when you go into a rivalry because you kind of don't want to know who's going to win. So I appreciate that. I'm not mad that Big Bill won. It is kind of surprising. Maybe like you said, if I had to choose, I would probably like. It feels like we're definitely going to get another tag team match, and to that, I would say I would rather have Big Bill and Brian Keith win that and let Juice win the singles. But I'm not mad at all. I'm not mad at any of this. This was a Bang Bang Gang are the cornerstone of Collision, and get well soon, Jay White. We do miss you, and Colton. Because you're all one fourth of the whole idiot that is Bang Bang Gang. Uh, but right now, Juice and Austin are doing a good job by themselves. Just keep it going. Keep it going. Don't let any drop balls drop.
Tyler says he thinks Tony Khan should sign Alex Kane. He reminds him of Powerhouse Hobbs and Big Lee. I don't know if that's supposed to be Big E. I'm not sure who Big Lee is,
His
but
former
maybe that's just a
ML,
typo.
his former
And
MLW partner.
yeah, Alex Kane is a former MLW wrestler. I think that's who, or he's currently. I mean, last time I saw Alex Kane, he was wrestling with MLW. Maybe Big Lee is another former MLW wrestler that I'm not familiar with. I like Alex Kane. I think Alex Kane does remind me a lot of Powerhouse Hobbs. The only thing I think the issue is with Alex Kane is he's short. He's big and stout, but he's very short.
Okay.
I think he's like 5'9". So in that regard, like I think that's a little bit of a disadvantage. We've always seen that shorter guys seem to have a little bit harder,
Yeah.
but no, I mean, I think Alex Kane is a solid wrestler, and he's one of those guys I wouldn't mind seeing in the AEW for sure. Tyler also says, I'm feeling like FTR versus Christian and Copeland, maybe no rules or something at some point. And I think AEW needs to push Josh Alexander. So, two different thoughts there. We've obviously touched on
Yes.
both. We both agree we want more for Josh
Mm-hmm.
Alexander. He should be pushed more. And as far as, like Anika touched on, and I tend to agree with her, I think this is going to be a FTR Young Bucks type situation where we're going to have multiple matches between these teams. And so at some point there will be either a TLC or an Extreme Rules or no rules or something. But I think the first one, like Anika said, probably should be a regular traditional. I mean, you don't want to start off right with an Extreme Rules match because then where you kind of go from there, right? So, um, and the formula is to start off with a regular match and work up to the more extreme stuff. So I'm assuming that that's probably what is going to happen. When I said, are they hinting towards TLC? I didn't necessarily mean like right at this moment. I just meant like at some point in their feud,
Yeah.
right? So um, I just think I for me, when stuff is scripted, and maybe it's not near as scripted in AEW, I think we've heard that it's not near as scripted in AEW as it was in WWE when it comes to talking stuff. But when I hear a reference to something like a TLC, that feels like foreshadowing. It feels like
Yes.
you're giving us a tease that that's already something you've talked about in the back, right? Like that's a deliberate Easter egg type of
Oh yeah.
situation. So I could be wrong, but you never know. Uh,
You
let's
never
see,
know.
what was next? Skyflight. They're 2-0 as they kick off the Attitude Era.
Sure.
Darius Martin says they beat the Shane Taylor promotions and they're the ones with the trios titles. So they need to get serious. Christopher Daniels asked Dante what his deal is. And Dante says Darius is always like that. What do you think of this little Skyflight promo?
Really left field? Or like this thing your attitude era is like, huh? Okay, okay. I
What?
thought
Right? Uh,
I thought we were
okay.
all on the board
What is
of,
that?
y'all are like a dojo and y'all are honing your crafts and y'all gonna be the best of the best. But yeah, we're bringing back the attitude era. Okay. I want this team to succeed. So whatever you want to throw at the wall, sure. Okay, sure. Okay, sure. We'll try that out real quick.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of odd. The whole thing seemed a little odd, but it is what it is. I mean, again, I like Skyflight too, and I want the best for them. So, yeah, okay. Uh, Gabe Kidd is in a video promo explaining to us how bad and how fucked up and how damaged he is because his own mom had to call the police on him in the past and how he tried to take his own life previously. So, Darby Death doesn't scare him. He will be in Philly next week to meet Darby, and he doesn't want a wrestling match or rules or a referee. He simply wants to break Darby. What do you think of this little Gabe Kid oversharing promo?
We went from 0 to 60 real fast, didn't we? It's like,
I mean,
sir,
to be fair, it's Darby and Gabe Kidd, and they both move at like 100 miles an hour, so it's not a
yeah,
surprise, but yes.
but like, in my mind, let's confirm the match before we do this kind of promo. And then like you do it on Collision. It's one of the things where timing is right and setting up the match is right. And this wasn't bad, but I feel like we kind of mistimed the promo. It feels like you do this like so. This depends. So on Dynamite, we know what happens. I'm like, do I want that? Do I want it before and after? More okay, more so. I'll say this: Collision still doesn't have the viewership of Dynamite. So I'm like, in my mind, this feels like a promo that should have been on Dynamite. And like, I know you gotta give Dynamite some. You gotta give Collision some credit. You gotta give Collision some nice little nuggets themselves. But this feels like it should have been on Dynamite before Darby attacks Gabe Kidd, in my opinion. But very intense, very raw. And with Darby, you do have to go there. But I'm like, we should have gone. Maybe we should have waited till we got there. In my mind, I think we should have waited before this promo.
Let's see. It is time for the main event. It is a trios match in the women's division between your current AEW Women's World Champion, Timeless Toni Storm, her partner Mina Shirakawa, and their partner Queen Aminata. Which I like. Just before I move on, I'm glad to see Queen out here getting the run with what I would call the main eventers
Yes.
to a certain extent. So I was happy to see that. I'm glad. And again, wrestling in general is far too they make putting people of the same ethnicity together far too often and too common. So to have to have her out here with other people that aren't just black women, you know what I'm
Yes.
saying? It is definitely refreshing. Like it's a different. So they took on Sky Blue, Julia Hart, and Billy Starks, 2/3 of the Triangle of Madness. Um, Thekla obviously had the little run in with Jamie Hayter earlier in the show,
Yeah.
and that is why she's not here for this match in the beginning. That's foreshadowing what happens later. But this match was okay. Tony Storm starts off talking trash. She has Sky Blue in a headlock, and in the middle of the ring calls her a slap tart, which obviously everyone got a little laugh. I don't know what a slap tart is. I have no idea what it
I
is,
don't know.
but it still made me laugh. Just because it's Tony Storm and the way she says stuff and the way she does stuff, it made me laugh. So, no, I thought this was fun. Tony Storm and Mina Shirakawa and Queen Aminata got the win in what was, a lot of good action. These women for the most part, all these women are really very solid
Yes.
wrestlers. Um, so yeah, I mean, I enjoyed this. Obviously Tony Storm uh, is your women's world champion, so her being in a main event spot on a show
Mm-hmm.
makes sense. I know they're pushing Triangle of Madness. Sky Blue and Julia Hart for me are, as far as Triangle of Madness goes, like two of these things are not. One of these things is not like the other with Tekla. Like I feel like Tekla's way up here, and these guys are really kind of down here. So in that regard, these three, and I like Billy Starks, but she's Athena's minion, right?
Right.
So it feels like this is kind of like three mid card women versus your world champion and another woman that should be around the main event, Nina Shirakawa, and another woman that should be around the main event in Queen Aminata. So it doesn't surprise me at all that they got the win. Tony Storm should be getting the win in this situation. The match was very solid. I thought everyone had some good offense, and everyone looked pretty decent. I thought that Julia Hart and Sky Blue actually looked okay for what they had to do. And Billy Starks always looks good. She's got a very bright future. She's extremely young. And Aminata looked great. So I thought this was good. What do you think of this main event? And then we'll talk about the post match.
Yeah, no. So Queen Avenata always looks great, and I agree with you. I totally love that she is in this space. I also like you're not saying anything that is wrong. Where is like Sky Blue and Julia are not ready for this spot. More so, I think. Which
Mhm.
I think here's the problem. The problem is they're waiting for a women's tag team division to hype all the girls that are matched up, and it's like you can't wait. They gotta they gotta beat these people now. In my opinion, it feels like once we are officially doing the women's tag team division, that's when they're going to get more shine. Which is unfortunate because, like you said, until that happens, I'm not sure how many wins they're gonna get. That's just me, but that is the problem.
Yeah,
I would like, and
yeah.
so and I am more scared now because even though this is we know that Mina is feuding with Athena. That's why Billy Starks is here, and I get you don't want to fight Mina all the time, even if it's in a multi-man tag. But this, like you said, this match needs another big person. In other words, it needs Athena. And I'm very much so scared of. Oh gosh, they got rid of so she lost to Tony Storm. She's going back to ROH. I like as soon as I don't see her on my TV, I'm like, ah, I'm scared. Don't do this, please and
Mm,
thank you.
yeah,
But right now,
yeah.
yeah, the match was great. Everyone, like you said, everyone looked great. Your world women's champion is on the other side. That's why they should win. And this hypes Mina up because it is kind of hard when you do a few, well, not a few, but what's the word? Sorry, I'm out of breath. Uh, when you do, when people are out of the country for visas to come back, it's hard to reheat them up. There we go, to reheat them up for a feud. So I am glad. So that the win was definitely needed for Mina, and all in all, it was a good match. It was a good match.
Post match, Decla interrupts. She comes down. They start to beat up Mina, or she starts to beat up Mina. Then she turns her attention to Queen. Triangle of Madness takes out Tony Storm with a gourd buster into a thrust kick. Decla poses, spears Tony Storm out of her boots. Aminata gets gourd busted and then thrust kicked as well. Followed by the spear as the Triangle of Madness stands tall in the ring
Boo!
to end the show. What do you think about them standing tall and getting the upper hand over Aminata and Tony Storm and Mina when it was all said and done?
Sorry, say it again. The thing,
Huh?
my earbuds went out. Say it again.
Oh, I said, what do you think about them standing tall over the good guys after taking the loss, but ending up standing tall at the end of the show? The bad
It's
guys, essentially.
it's
Uh,
it's fine, but I am kind of over that trope of we're not gonna let you win, but we are gonna let you stand tall. No, let me win. Let me win. Cause either way, I me like yeah, they beat him up, but you still lost. You still lost. So no, at one point in time, I would prefer winning over beating people up. In my opinion,
yeah.
but it was they got their heat back. I guess.
Uh, Give the show a grade. The overall show, this episode of Collision. What are you giving it?
It did not suck. I'm trying to think of any downtime. The kill shot and Kip Sabian segment was not needed, unfortunately. We had a couple of showcase matches, but I think you should definitely like those are collisions the part to play them. B
Solid B. I think that's where I was sitting. Yeah,
minus.
I was sitting right around a B too. I'm thinking there's nothing, that stood out. I mean, Josh Alexander getting the win. That tag team match was fine. That
Right.
was one of the better matches of the night. The trios match for the main event I thought was solid. It could have used Athena instead of a Billy Starks. I think that would have been better.
Over the top.
Um,
Wasn't over the top, yeah.
right. So and with the kind of egregiousness of the Kip Sabian segment, yeah, I mean, I was thinking like B minus, somewhere right around there. I'll go with B. Um, Actually, I'll go with B minus. I'll go with B minus. Because I was thinking it was somewhere between B and C ultimately, and so I'll go B minus. That's in between B and C. So we're in agreement for Collision. We both have given it a B minus. They run down the card for the episode of Collision that Anika is going to lead us into. We're going to have Mercedes Monet versus Alex Windsor for the TNT title, and John Moxley versus Daniel Garcia.
Oh, no, no, no.
So, Miss Anika,
No, no, no. That wasn't Dynamite. It was Daniel Garcia versus somebody else on Dynamite.
well, yeah, I just know that at the end of Collision, that's what they said was coming up on Dynamite.
Oh, come.
But I don't know that. Yeah. Just
Okay, yeah.
the rundown of what was supposed to be. So, Miss Anika will take over for our Dynamite review.
Hi. All right. So
Oh,
this was this was Dynamite from September 3rd. It was a good Dynamite, as ALW said. We're in Philadelphia. We're still in the 2300 arena. It was fine. It still felt like a club that nobody wanted to get into, but it was good. Okay, I'm sorry. I was wondering how long you're gonna let me do that, but no, yeah, we're still in the 2300 arena. I actually like that. I don't mind them being in a city for at least a good 2 weeks to a month. It feels like, I know that you're the top two, like you're one of the top two wrestling companies, right? But I do miss that whole, this is a special occasion. Only the best of the best know about our what you call it, our show. And so I actually like that little beautiful setting of it. We are coming, like they actually are doing a nice little follow up to Collision. It starts off with Gabe Kidd coming in like a bullet train, and so calling out Darby Allin because my baby is that crazy. Which I'm not afraid. I'm not. I don't care that we're in this dump of a town, but I want to face Darby Allin. Darby Allin, get behind out here, and Darby Allin quickly obliged. And here comes them brawling quick, fast, and in a freaking hurry. And so they're going one on one, but here comes the crazy people. More so, here comes the cavalry of the Death Riders to help, and then here comes Hook by himself. Have you heard his theme song yet?
I think so. Yeah.
What do you? It's not the first one. The first one was "I'm coming out to beat someone's behind." The crooner music is just for, like, I think that should have been saved just for the promo of him coming back. Him, that being his official theme song now. It doesn't have it don't have that kick in the butt like it's supposed to, in my opinion. But what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, I tend to think that you want something that's extremely lively, something that that is more, a little more upbeat, a little more, gives to the air of going to a fight type of situation, and
Mm,
also that, for what it's worth, it doesn't have to be, but when you can get the crowd to sing your song, whether it's your song or a song, like that's a long way to getting you over. And so you want to have
yeah.
something that the crowd can get behind, that's catchy, that makes them want to participate. And I don't know that this does that for the crowd with Hook. So
Right. Right. And so Hook is doing his not lazy, but like kind of midway walk of "I'm going to handle business," but the ops like, listen, you're going too slow. So here comes Powerhouse Hobbs and Samoa Joe to join their fray real quick, fast, and in a hurry. Like they like, sir, they're running past you because you're going so freaking slow. And the brawling quickly comes up again. Here's Willow. We haven't seen her. Real talk. When was the last time Willow was on Dynamite?
that's a good question. I
I'm
being that everything blends together for me, I couldn't tell you, but yeah, I don't. I mean, Feels
it
like it's
feels
been a minute. I mean,
it feels like on Dynamite Will hasn't been showcased, and I don't like that. But she's brawling with Marina. Everyone's brawling, and eventually we get Gabe Kidd getting attacked by Darby in the parking lot. And Darby gets Gay Kid in a freaking body bag and hitches the body bag to a truck and rides that sucker out of the arena. I missed. Listen, the reason why we were mad that Darby climbed the mountain is because, sir, you are a cornerstone of this show. You're good. We enjoy you. So without you, I'm not gonna say that you that you that you weren't necessary, but you were definitely missed. Like this was I missed this. Darby is a perfect blend of crazy, but I can still wrestle professionally, and that's why hopefully he'll be AEW champion one day. I think I can say that. But yeah, this was a great. I enjoyed this opening of Dynamite. This checked all the boxes. All the feuds are coming out of it, and it was a good time. What are your thoughts?
it was a lot, right? I mean,
Yeah,
there's a lot going on. I mean, I enjoyed it. I think it's fun. I mean, Gabe Kidd is um, fun. He's intense. He's enjoyable to watch because of that. Darby Allin's, what he is. He's great at what he does. And these two together make sense to me because they're both just 100 miles an hour. Like animals loose from a cage, right? So
yeah.
these two together makes perfect sense to me. I loved him putting him in a body bag and taking him away at the end after he choked him out. Um,
Side note,
listen,
side note. If
listen.
you see this
Good.
person buying chloroform, stop letting this man buy chloroform to knock people out. I just want to say that. Oh, okay, you go.
Um, listen. You have you have to prove to me that you're cool before you can act cool, and I feel like Hook is trying to act cool before he's proven that he's cool. Like you can't
Mm.
come down to the ring like you have the biggest penis in AEW when we know that you do not. You know what I'm saying? Like you're too good for this. Like I'm too cool to be here right now. When a guy like Samoa Joe, who's been putting it down for close to 30 years, is out full speed to do this still because this is what he loves to do. I understand they're two different
Yeah.
characters, but one feels right and one feels kind of wrong and cocky and pretentious and all the things that I don't tend to like in young people as the old man that wants the young people off my lawn. Like, you know what I'm
Get off my
saying? So
grass.
in that,
Yeah.
exactly. So in that regard, I didn't like Hook's attitude. I don't like Hook's attitude. I don't like the whole "I'm too cool for this" kind of thing. Like which is how I feel like it comes across. He can't be bothered to get his hair out of his face. He can't be bothered to put on something besides sweats and a white beater. He can barely be bothered, it looks like, to be there, let alone be involved. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
so in that regard, and I get that that's his attitude. He hasn't earned that persona with me yet. You know what I'm saying? If Samoa Joe wants to
Yeah.
act like that, that's fine. Samoa Joe's been there, done that, title, all those things, but you
He
haven't done
that do.
anything. You haven't even proved
Yeah.
that you can really wrestle yet or do anything worthwhile, and you're acting like you're too big for AEW. You know what I mean? And so, in that regard, I had a real problem with that. But I thought that this came off fine. The Gabe stuff, Darby Allin stuff came off really good. I'm happy to see Samoa Joe, Powerhouse Hobbs out here fighting. I thought all that stuff was fun, and it's a good way to fire up the crowd and get the show going, at 100 miles an hour. So I enjoyed all that.
Yeah.
I just don't
Yeah.
like Hook's part in all of this.
Understandable though. Understandable. I totally get it. Next we have our official first match. The chance to win the the women's TBS championship. Alex Windsor versus Mercedes Monet. And this was good. This was good. I have my grievances about Alex Windsor. You justified or not, they're mostly justified. In my mind. But in the ring, she can really go, and this was a very great match, especially going against Mercedes Monet. Um, they kind of scared me. They did the whole 10 minutes before the final call before match ends on the intercom. It's like, if this isn't a draw, I will punch y'all in the face because this does not need to be needed. I love the last little sequence where it's a reversal of the sharpshooter into the bank statement. Yeah, we're calling it bank. I'm calling it the bank statement. I ain't got time for this. We got the the Monet statement, and she kicks off the ring. She kicks off the ring ropes, and Alex Windsor goes for a pin, but Mercedes counters it with the 1, 2, 3 roll up. Mercedes we retains her title and is still your TBS champion. She still has 8 freaking belts under her on her waist. Any thoughts on the match?
Fine. This is the third time, the second time that Alex Windsor has wrestled for this title, and the third time that she's been in a match with Mercedes Moné in the last 3 months, 2 months or so. So, because they had the singles match for the non-title before, right? Like before
Right.
the match at Forbidden Door, which was the four-way for the title, right? So,
Yeah.
um, I don't want to say it's too much or they're doing running it back too many times, but again, I don't know how many more I need to see of Alex Windsor versus Mercedes Moné per se. And
Mm-hmm.
yet I don't think this is the end of it either. I don't have a problem with Mercedes Moné being the top of the women's division. I don't. I think she's incredible. I think she's earned that spot. She continues to show how great she is. I think I'm kind of ready for a title change just for the TBS title, just because. And I don't know that it's Alex Windsor that I want to have it, but I thought that we would get it here. There were a couple times where like, okay, they're going to do it, and that's fine because Alex Windsor's, proven over the last couple months that she, can go,
Couple
and
of
she has a
months.
reputation. I know she's new, and so you don't like necessarily someone that's brand new getting a title shot right away or a title reign right away. But again, she's not new to wrestling, right? So new to us or is not necessarily new to wrestling. So, um, but again, Mercedes got the win in a very solid match. I thought both women
Mm-hmm.
came out looking very good. I don't think that the loss made Alex Windsor look bad in any way, shape, or form.
Oh no.
I think she still looked good. I think the match did what it was supposed to do and make both women look good. Um, and yeah, Mercedes is still your TBS champion. I mean, I guess the question becomes, what's next for Mercedes? Are we gonna just? I mean, is
Mm-hmm.
it just continuing to be Alex Windsor? Do we have somebody else? Because I don't really see anybody. There's other people but I don't see anybody else that they've actually positioned per se. I thought it was going to be Athena, but then Athena's attention got turned to Tony Storm. Tony Storm beat her, and like you said, now where's Athena? Is Athena just going back behind the pay window? So
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, they need to do something to get me excited about whatever's next for Mercedes Moné. And this, in theory, I don't want to say it should be the end of Alex Windsor Mercedes Moné, but it kind of should be the end of Alex Windsor Mercedes Moné.
What more so to, at least take a break. At least like okay, it was a definitive win for the championship. You have to not back in the line, but rebuild up Windsor to get another title shot.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
post match, we get Alex Winter trying to be a respectable competitor, extends her hand to Mercedes Monet. Mercedes gives her a thumb, the middle finger, and it's like, ma'am, ma'am, was that necessary? And she starts beating up Alex Windsor. And then here comes Rio. And like, where have you? We know where you've been, but why is it taking you so long to come freaking back? So that was very, I love that. That was very nice. And she gives her them freaking 2 feet to the face that looks like, how do you block that? I'm not taking that if I'm anybody facing Riho. And for All Out, officially, we're going to get Mercedes Monet versus Riho. I am not mad at it. I am all the way here for it. You just say where does Mercedes go from here. If you want to drop the belt to Riho, I am not mad at that. And for people who don't know who Riho is, she is our AEW first official women's champion. Unfortunately, because of visas, she's been in and out, but she is still a draw. She's still a ratings draw. So again, we have it's September 20th. We got 2 weeks to hype it up. 2 or 3 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks to hype it up. I believe it can be done. It can be done. So yeah, I'm here for all of this. I am. Thoughts?
I mean, at the end of the match, like I was just saying, at the end of the match, I was thinking to myself, well, what's up for Mercedes? And obviously, post match, Riho comes out, and we now know what is next on the table for Mercedes Monet. I mean, Riho is one of those ladies that I know is over with the fans and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say I don't like her because I don't dislike her. She just isn't my cup of tea per se. That being said, she is a big star. People love her. She is very over, and I isn't. I don't want to argue. I don't want to question you at all because your memory is 1,000 times better than me. But wasn't Nyla Rose the very first AEW Women's World Champion ever?
So it was no. So she beat Nyla Rose for the title, and then Nyla Rose beat her to get it back. Or I mean, sorry, and Nyla
Okay,
Rose beat her to get her first title reign. So it was they're the both two. They're the first two to compete for the title. She won
okay,
the first
okay.
time. Nyla won second time.
Okay. Thanks for
Yeah,
clarifying. I thought Nyla had been the first one, but either way,
yeah,
Riho is one of those women that when we talk about the lack of depth in the AEW women's division because so and so is missing, Riho is one of those women that has been gone, and she has been she was around obviously at the beginning. So happy to see her back. Just if for nothing else to just provide more depth to the women's division. Um, her versus Mercedes should be fun. I tend to think
yeah,
that Mercedes is the better wrestler. In my mind, I think Mercedes should win, but Riho has the pedigree and the resume to justify a win over Mercedes Moné and taking that title. So if you're going to take it off of Mercedes and you haven't done it yet with some of the guys some of the women that she's faced, then Riho is as good a candidate as anybody to do that. So. It'll be interesting to see. I think the match will be very good. So, and again, it just provides some excitement to the women's division.
yeah.
So,
Much needed excitement. Just most definitely. All right. So next up, we have a backstage conversation between the Ops and Hook. And Hook was like, "What was that out there? Like y'all, listen, we're not like basically. Like, I'm paraphrasing, but like basically, we're not cool anymore because y'all basically left me to the wayside, and you replaced me with Will Hobbs. And Will Hobbs is trying to smooth it over. But Joe, but like Joe said, dude, he's like, no, I got this. Yes, we replaced you with Will Hobbs. Like we had a chance to go for the trios titles. We was not going to wait for you to come back. So I made an executive decision and replaced you with Will Hobbs. But you is still family, and whenever you need the help, the ops will be right there for you. And Hook left, and it's like, you can't have these petty conversations with Joe because Joe ain't here for it. Joe's like, listen, we got business to take care of, and the bit and you is not here, and ain't nobody gonna wait to get a championship because you got hurt. We are sorry you got hurt, but nevertheless, it had some. We had to keep it moving. And it's like in my mind, at least it's somebody you know. At least it's somebody from Team Taz. It ain't like if your mortal in well, yeah. I'm trying to think when Team Taz broke up, it was Will Hobbs versus Ricky Starks. They really didn't have any beef with Hook. So like, yeah, nah. It's like they kept it in the family. So you should I think you should be grateful. But I'm like get over yourself, basically. Any thoughts on this segment?
again, I mean, I think Hook has the wrong attitude here. The over justified, the unjustified confidence, right? Like it's like, first of all, don't no one talks to Samoa Joe like that. And Samoa Joe is like, you want to Samoa. If someone says who made the call, Samoa Joe's not going to stand there with his head down. He's going to say, "I made the motherfucking call. What you going to say about it?" You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
And like, yeah, what you going to do? So, and you're not really going to do anything. So, it's interesting to see. And to be honest with you, like, yeah, I mean, for me, I'm not necessarily the biggest powerhouse Hobbs fan. I think he's limited. I like him, but I think he's limited. But I think he's got more upside at the moment than Hook does. I think he's showing more, at the moment than Hook has. So for me, he's
Yeah.
a better addition than Hook is to the ops as far as trying to win. And yeah, we're trying to win. So and at
We're
this point, doesn't I don't care if Hook looks pleased. Like I'm frustrated with Hook at the moment. So like it is and first of all, you do need someone does need to help you because first of all, you wasn't even doing nothing. All you did was come down and walk slow. Like you hadn't even done nothing. So and you're all alone. And to be fair, I understand your attitude is bigger than whatever and your head is bigger than whatever, but your body itself is small, brother. So you're gonna get beat up when it comes to you coming into the ring with three other men, right? Like that's just
right.
the way it's going to be. So you needed the help. Sorry, whether
And
you like
then
to accept it or not.
And
Um,
then more
so,
so,
it just come on back, come under the wing, which I know he won't do, but come under the wing, take your rightful place, stay in your lane, and in a few years, we'll see if you can achieve and get to the ceiling and get to the spot that we all hope you do. But right now, you take the bass out of your voice and stay in your lane. I mean, that's my feeling about Hook. So I like the
that was
segment, and I'm glad that Joe it felt like put him in his place. Hook didn't necessarily give him that, but it felt like Joe kind of put him in his place.
no, I totally agree with you. It gave that. Jesus,
Bless you.
I'm all right. We're good. I'm okay. I
Uh,
will. No. I totally agree with you. Another thing I want to add, I'm like, so when was the Death Riders your business? Like, you just got here, and granted, you just choked Yuta out, but Yuta didn't call you out. You the one who came out to confront Yuta. So I'm like, so how is this even your business anyway? I kind of think, okay. I guess I think they're the reason why he got taken. Again, there's something like I wish they would say
Originally,
this. This
yeah.
is why Hook has been taken now. This is why Hook was out of commission because of the Death Rider. But at least remind us, because I had to think of. I want listen. This is entertainment. I won't have to think so hard about why people are doing what they're doing. So at least remind us that they're the reasons why he was out for so long. At least do that in my opinion.
Yeah, where's the
But
video package of them taking Hook out, right? Like, where's the video package just to
like
remind us
y'all
of
need to
exactly
remember
what
this
happened,
stuff.
right?
We don't remember this stuff. Like especially like no offense to Hook, but Hook is not a person where I'm trying to collect all of your nice little nuggets of your brain of your career and be like, listen, I was there. Oh my god, whatever. All right, so next up, yep, we have Ricky Starks. Sorry, it says Ricky, so and Ricky just came to my mind. Ricochet with the Gates of Agony in a backstage promo, and basically they're calling out the Hurt Syndicate for a trios match. Interesting. They basically concluded with, "We're going to show you why we're on another level." We all knew this was coming. I assumed it was going to be at All Out, not at Dynamite, but either way, I'm here for it. MVP wrestling. That'll be interesting. But we'll come back to the Hurt Syndicate response in a little bit. But what do you think about this segment?
I mean, I'm always leery when guys that have either been out of the ring for a long time or
Yeah,
definitely in the lighter state, in the latter stages of their wrestling career for all intents and purposes, and older, age wise, are stepping back into the ring. That's something that it seems like Tony Khan really likes to do. So it is what it is. MVP was a solid wrestler, when he was going good and when in his prime. So, and I'm sure he'll be more than up to the challenge as far as doing what he needs to do. Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin will carry the bulk of the load as they should. And he'll come in for a couple spots. Um, I it has some interest for me. I mean, I definitely think Hurt Syndicate versus Ricochet. They don't even have a name for their group, whatever, Ricochet and the Gates of Agony,
yeah,
is fun. Again, it's a little bit of let's take everyone of the same color and put them together to a certain extent, right? I mean, and in that regard, it is what it is. But they have good chemistry together, these six guys, and I think it should be fun. I'm interested in the match. I don't know what necessarily becomes of it because neither of these teams has a trios title, so it's not necessarily clear on what the goal is. Like if,
yeah,
if the goal is that one of these teams will end up, getting a shot at the trios titles in some way, shape, or form, or this moves them up the ladder for that, then I guess it is what it is. I still don't understand why we're wasting so much time. I'm going to say this again. The money spot for the Hurt Syndicate is Bobby Lashley as a singles wrestler, and the fourth person coming in that can team with Shelton as a tag team person all the time. They don't want to, for whatever reason, Tony Khan isn't ready to pull the trigger on Bobby Lashley as a singles wrestler at the moment, I guess. So we're in this kind of They were tag team champions for a while, and now we're in this. They're a trios kind of whatever in between, and maybe they'll compete for the trios titles. In the meantime, they'll have trios matches, I guess. I mean, I don't. The whole thing's a little odd for me for the placement of the Hurt Syndicate and Bobby Lashley now that they don't have the titles anymore. So it makes sense storyline wise because they've been having this storyline with Ricochet. It makes sense that way. I just don't understand the booking and why it's going the way that it's going. I guess is my question. But
Yeah.
this promo was fine.
I mean, like I said, logically it makes sense because they do have history more so with Pretty Ricky and her syndicate. Like I said, it felt like I felt y'all real life forgot about it and just threw it together. That's what it feels like. Oh, I remember he did get hemmed up, so we'll bring that back. All right, cool, that works. It's like it don't though. It don't. All right, so next up we have Reach for the Sky. Pop, 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 my baby. Uh Mark Briscoe comes out into the full of energy as always. That man never is what's the word? He's never on 5. He's always either an 8 or a higher. I was gonna say on 10, but that's like that I don't want to put too much pressure on him. But he
You know what I
comes
mean? Even
out
when
and
he's like calm, even when he's trying to be like a little more calm and a little more reserved,
yeah,
he still isn't. He still isn't.
he's
Like,
not.
not.
It's like so he comes out. We did so. I feel like this is a version. This is like this stuff happened and people stuff is not planned out how it's supposed to be planned out. Case in point, we were supposed to have Cal Fletcher versus Mark Briscoe for the TNT title, and his wife had a baby, and in respect, get off of her. But you stayed home, make sure your wife was okay. But I guess they took away the option of him versus Kyle Fletcher for the TNT title. I'm like, wait, I thought it was confirmed. So like, I don't like being annoyed like that. That's like a pit peeve where you told me something happening and you alter it like that. That's like, don't do that. So Mark Briscoe comes out and he's just like, I want to challenge Kyle Fletcher, but he's running away from me. And Don Callis looks like Elton John cosplaying as a penis. I'm like, baby, what? What? Huh? What? How did your mind go from A, B to C? That was hilarious. And that brings out Don Callis. And Don Callis was like, we don't have time for you and your shenanigans. As again on Collision, we have a lot of people going for Kyle Fletcher and his title. But I'll tell you what, if you beat one of a member of the Don Callis family, then you'll get your TNT shot. And it's like, okay, like you said, Don Callis has a lot of people. Who's it gonna be? He says to catch the okay. And so the catcher comes out and does a face to face with Mark Briscoe, and we'll go to and you gotta do the whole thing. And then as Takeshita and Don Callis are leaving, Mark Briscoe's like, listen here, I came here to fight, and if I'm gonna let me get one of you boys up in here. And Lance Archer is on the horn. I'm like, okay, that's actually a very nice little match I want to see. But before we get into the match, what? Okay. Listen, we're all family. We're all family, but there's a hierarchy. There's a hierarchy in wrestling, in my opinion. And in the Don Callis family, Takeshita's first, Kyle Fletcher is second. So for you to say you had to get through Takeshita to get to Kyle Fletcher is egregious. I don't like it. It is dumb. And then following that up from last week, where I thought that when Don Callis came out to confront Hangman, and like one of the Don Callis family going to take you down, I thought it was going to be Takeshita. But evidently it's not, because now you're a buffer for Fletcher. So I'm not sure how you're going to flip from a buffer to Fletcher to the number one contender to Hangman's title. So boo all this. I love Mark Briscoe. He's my boy. But Takeshita should not be a buffer to get to Cal freaking Fletcher. That is my opinion. I'm standing freaking by it. Do you have what are your thoughts?
Didn't really quite see it the same way, which is interesting because normally I do see stuff like that way when it comes to stuff like that. But like the way I saw it was that Don Callis absolutely doesn't want Mark Briscoe to have a shot at Kyle Fletcher, and the way to ensure that is to put him against the biggest member of the Callis family, who he's absolutely convinced he cannot beat. So if you can't beat Takeshita, there's no way that way you don't get your shot. Takeshita's going to take you out. You don't get your chance at all at Kyle Fletcher. I didn't see it as quite a buffer, but I can now that you've said that. I mean, I'm not changing my opinion, but I can see where it could be seen that way as well. And that's definitely not a good look for Takeshita, who just won the G1 and is supposed to be a contender for the world heavyweight championship or the world championship. So in that regard, you don't want to make Takeshita. You don't want to give the impression or make Takeshita look like a buffer in any way, shape, or form. I didn't take it that way, but the fact that you did shows that it could be taken that way. So obviously they blew it in that regard. Um, yeah, I mean, the idea that you got to beat Takeshita to get to Kyle Fletcher again is what it is. The reality is that what it says to me is that we're not getting Kyle Fletcher versus Mark Briscoe for the TNT Championship because I can't imagine that Mark Briscoe is beating Kyle Fletcher as much as I'm sorry, is beating Takeshita to get a shot at Kyle Fletcher. So I don't think that's happening. So in that regard, it's definitely a little disappointing. Um, I didn't think that Mark Briscoe was going to. Well, I guess we'll talk. We didn't really talk about the match, but you didn't really talk about it yet. So I guess at the
Not
end we'll
yet.
talk about it. But um, this was fine. I like Briscoe. He's fun. It's fine. Again, like you said, um, if you took it that way, then yeah, I guess the catcher doesn't come off that great. I didn't take it that way, but again, I took it as we're definitely not getting Kyle Fletcher versus Mark Briscoe now because Mark Briscoe's not beating Takeshita. So okay,
So I lend you your ear because it feels like they've been teasing Cal Fletcher versus Takeshita for the title for TNT title in a minute. So what if they do let Mark Briscoe beat Takeshita?
so no, I mean that to me, I mean, nothing against Mark Briscoe, but it feels like two steps back for a guy like Takeshita. I mean, anything can happen, and if they do it the right way, some sort of interference, uh, you know, um, Kyle Fletcher costs Takeshita the match somehow, and you have some dissension there. Something, whatever. Don Callis costs Takeshita the match somehow. Mark Briscoe gets over because he's smart and gets a quick little. Then maybe that's something, but it can't be a clean 1, 2, 3. Mark Briscoe, mid card guy, beats Takeshita G1 champion from 2 months ago, and guy that's supposed to face Hangman in the near future for the world championship. That I don't think that can happen. I don't. So I don't know.
We'll see. We'll see. But like I said, Briscoe is here for a fight, and Lance Archer enters the call. I like that. No offense to Rock Romero and Trent, but for Mark Briscoe, I want the big head. Like since we're here, let's stay at the top of the food chain. No offense. So him versus Lance Archer, I love Lance Archer from the beginning when I saw him. I feel so bad because it feels like him and Brian Cage had something going as a tag team, but Brian Cage got hurt. So we really don't know what to do with Lance Archer right now instead of just being in the Don Callis family. So I like that Lance Archer shine. But all in all, Mark Briscoe gets the win with a froggy bow. 1, 2, 3. A very nice win. Like I said, I miss Lance Archer. So I'm glad to see him in the match. Your thoughts?
I thought this was fine. I, you know, I in a vacuum, I don't really see Mark Briscoe beating Lance Archer, more than 50% of
Really?
the time. Not, but here it makes sense. I mean, if the goal is for Mark Briscoe to work his way to Kyle Fletcher, and you're going to have him ultimately maybe beat Takeshita to get there, or have to beat Takeshita to get there, then in theory, if he can, I mean, he has to be able to beat a Lance Archer before he can beat a Takeshita or a Kyle Fletcher. So the
Yeah.
reality is that this makes it more realistic that Mark Briscoe could get the kind of upset win, or that he deserves to be in that spot, as he should be beating a guy like Lance Archer that's below that spot. Um, you know, I I'm not necessarily the biggest Lance Archer guy, um, but I also don't necessarily like him just being used to take losses either. So it is what it is. He's part of the Don Callis family, and he's at the very, very low end of the pecking order, the hierarchy, as you said. So, when you're looking at the 6 guys or 7 guys that are in the Don Callis family, and the one that could take the pin the most is probably Lance Archer, because it is what it is. He's not even on TV that often. He's not all that. So, and he's a big monster, so it looks good when Mark Briscoe gets the win. So in that regard, it's fine. I just think in a vacuum, if without all the other stuff going on, I don't know how often Mark Briscoe actually beats Lance Archer. But again,
Yeah.
it is what it is. And I thought the match came off fine. They both did a good job in the match. They're both solid wrestlers, and I thought it came off good.
All right. And so next we have a backstage promo from the timeless Tony Storm. And again, I'm not gonna do her justice, so just go back and watch it. But I'm gonna hit some highlights. Philadelphia freaks, lend me your ear. If the walls could talk, then this place would never shut up. And I would and if I'm a woman of my word, then I'll be the crazy bitch that I have always been. And it's like it's time for someone to step up. But don't worry, darlings, God doesn't judge. I do. And so classic Tony Storm promo, very classic. I like it, but Jimmy Macaron said something that actually makes sense. Where he
Yeah.
said, if you don't have back in the day with The Rock and Stone Cold, if they didn't have a proper rivalry, they were just saying random stuff, basically until they were in the actual program. And it feels like right now Tony Storm is in that little segment where it's like, where is the where is her program? Like who is her next challenger? And that is crazy to say because she is the women's world champion. And we hit a roadblock where I'm scared. This is we're kind of leading towards where it happened to Jay Cargill in her TBS reign, where after a number of wins, we didn't know who was gonna beat her, and so she was just coming out and doing random stuff, and it kind of lessened her reign, which is we don't want that for Tony Storm. And then like that's what happens when you beat an Athena in a Mercedes. And it's like those were the top two chicks. So who after that is going to be able to beat Tony Storm? And no offense, but I don't want to be Megan Bain. I don't want to be like Megan going from a Tony Storm with loads of personality and good in the ring to Megan Bain, who is just basically the female Brock Lesnar and no personality, even with a Penelope Ford. I don't think that's a good choice. So we do, like you said, we have a lot of good women's wrestlers in AEW, but we have to hype them up quick, fast, and in a hurry. So, and All Out is coming up in 2 or 3 weeks. There should be a Tony Storm match on the card. If not, what are we doing? So hopefully they'll be able to pick someone and hype it up as fast as possible. But like I said, it was a classic Tony Storm promo. It was fine. Your thoughts?
Couldn't agree more, 1,000%. I mean, we're 2, 3 weeks away from 2 weeks away from All Out, and they don't seem to have a Tony Storm match in the card at the moment. So, and she's the AEW Women's World Champion, so she should be on the card, and she should always have a program going. Being the world champion, there should be so many people vying for her that when one disappears, the other one is just ready to come, and she's been booked like that already. Like that's how it
Yeah.
should be done because she's a women's world champion, and everybody wants that title. There shouldn't be any kind of sense of, well, who wants to take a shot at Tony Storm next? Every single woman on the roster should want to take a shot at Tony Storm next.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And not like and because she's got the title in the spot that everyone wants. So yeah, I mean this promo's fine. Jimmy McRam to a certain extent is correct. When you're not focusing it on something or someone, it can be just kind of a little obscure, just kind of saying words to say words. That being said, she's still extremely enjoyable and exciting when she's talking.
Yeah.
This timeless Tony Storm character is fun. She always makes me, enjoy the promos that she's doing, whether it's, got direction or purpose or not. Just simply because of the things that she says, which almost always has some sort of shock and awe value to it. Um, so, I mean, yeah, I mean, the women's division is down at the moment, which is, I say down because they have a Tony Storm, they have Mercedes Monet, they've got some decent women, but it's not very deep, like we talked about during Collision. It's very shallow at the moment, and the deepness seems to be in the mid card, or at least that's where they're booking that. Like whatever women we do have, most of them are bundled in the mid card area. It feels like so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see who ultimately steps up, and I don't know what they're going to do for in 2 weeks for a match for her. I mean, we'll
Yeah.
see. My guess is she won't have a match. I don't know. I mean, which is weird, but
No, that is that would be like at least a tag team after something, but her having no match is truly insane. All right. But next up, we have a backstage segment with the new friends of Harley Cameron and Statlander. Uh, Harley is kind of down because they lost their last match, and so Statlander's like, "Snap out of it! The wrath is not in the mask. The wrath is in you." And so Harley says, and she and basically she comes out. She has the paint of whiskers on her nose and her cheeks. I love her so much. And so Harley just goes crazy. She's like, "We'll take on anyone. The triangle of madness, Brodito." And Statler's like, "No, no, no, not Brodito. Just stick to the girls. Stick to the girls." "Oh, I'm sorry." And then here comes uh Yuta and Marina Shafir, and Statlander says to Marina, "Tell our friend I got his message." And then Yuta breaks it up. I like Yuta was so good here, and so he grabs Marina like, "All right, I'm going to go wrestle now. All right, see you later." And then Harley's like, "They seem nice," and then you can tell like Renee is just so she enjoys Harley, and I enjoy Renee enjoying Harley. It was very nice. Um, good good segment. I Harley Cameron is just a treasure. I'm not sure when we're gonna let again. It feels like we're waiting on a women's tag team division to really heat up people, and I get it, but again, I don't because Harley is so freaking good, and I don't. And I again, I don't want her to be used to hype up other people with no personality, or sorry, little personality. But on the Statlander side, I am kind of intrigued with this whole. She's trying to make amends with Willow, but the Death Riders are kind of clawing at her to join the group. I don't know what the end goal is, and right now I'm okay with that. Some stories we need an end goal. Others we can just I ain't gonna say write it out, but I can wait to see where it goes. So oh no, it was a fine little segment. Your thoughts, AOW?
I mean, Harley Cameron is fun. She's that,
She's
she has
so
that it
good.
personality. Every time she's on my TV, she makes me feel good and I laugh and all those things. Um,
Yes.
so like you said, you don't want her to just be a vehicle for someone that doesn't really have personality like a Chris Statlander, but or little personality. But at the same time, you know, it looks like Harley Cameron's maybe getting a little bit more out of Chris Statlander than other people have. She's a little bit
Oh
more
yeah.
out of her shell, which is good. Maybe Chris has some personality and we just haven't seen it yet. And maybe Harley is the key to opening that. So, in that regard, I'm kind of here to see. Because I do like Chris Statlander, and I kind of
I
want
do.
to
Yeah.
see if she can be more than she is. I think the reason that she hasn't probably gotten over more is just because she's not all that memorable. I mean,
Oh
she's
yeah.
just kind of what she is, right? So she
Yeah.
needs more personality. She needs to stand out more. She needs to be more whatever. And Harley has those things. So that can rub off on her. Great. At the same time, like you said, I don't want the air sucked out of Harley Cameron by Chris Statlander. So um But yeah, no, I mean, I think it's fine. And as far as this little, I mean, the segment itself was fine. Wheeler Yuta stuff with Chris Statlander is getting old for me already. Like it's another one of those let's do something or not. Like you keep showing
Yeah,
up, you keep saying stuff, you keep hinting towards things. And I'm not talking about just the Death Rider stuff. Like that's fine, but just her and Wheeler, just the two of them, their interaction. It feels like it's been going on for much longer than I care for it to go on for, and without something actually happening. So either do something or don't do something. But yeah, I mean, and I don't like the idea of her joining the Death Riders. I mean, I'm not necessarily opposed to it, depending on how they could do it. I mean, if they did it right, it could be fine. I just don't know that that's where I want her when I'm thinking about it right now.
yeah,
Um, Marina Shafir gets what she gets, but in the scheme of things, in my opinion, it's not a whole lot. I mean, she's with one of the two biggest factions in AEW, so that's a big deal. And she's, the muscle, or she defends John Moxley, whatever the case may be, and he's one of the best wrestlers in the world and a big deal for AEW. But that's all she gets. She gets no singles praise. She never gets to really wrestle. She never gets to show what Marina Shafir can actually do outside of just tagging along with John Moxley. And I don't want that for Chris Statlander. So I think that both of those women are more talented than that, and I don't want them just kind of walking around doing nothing. I mean, so it is what it is. We'll see what ends up happening. I don't think she's going to join, but they need to do something with that. Or either stop the Wheeler stuff or do something with the Wheeler stuff. But I'm tired of Wheeler just popping up and saying
I.
things like for me, I like Wheeler Yuta, but like that's not his strong suit. Like that's not where I think his lane is as a character per se. Like it's doesn't
Yeah,
really get me excited or move the needle when he comes on the screen like that. So I get excited when I see him in the ring. That's where I think he thrives at the moment, and he needs to continue to work on his promo stuff. But we don't even see promos from him. All we see is this, really. I mean, this is all the talking that we really get from Wheeler Yuta. So in these little tiny segments with Chris Statlander. So yeah,
yeah, understandable. And so now, like Will you just said, he's gonna go wrestle. It's a tag team match for the tag team championship. It is Brodito, Bandito, and Brody King versus Wheeler Yuta and Claudio. I love this. Like this was a good freaking match, and everyone in here was so delicious. Like just Claudio and Brodito by themselves. Yes, give me more. Yum 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 yum. And then like Yuta is actually doing a very good job with like he actually has been elevated. And Bandito, he's just an anomaly basically. I'm like, how are you a luchador but you are strong as hell? It's like so I love everyone up in here, and you can tell that Bandito and Brody King are now meshing well together as many times as they get their reps up. I like little part in the match where Bandito is trying to do the Macarena and Brody's like, nah, I like come on, like so if this was Orange Cassidy, it's like eventually he's gonna have eventually I want to see him do it. Like them little cute little tropes I love to see. But like great like great stream but of course Yuta and Claudio are Death Riders. So, here comes Moxley to interfere. But never fear, here's Darby right behind him, being back crack crazy. Don't know where Game Kid is, but hopefully he's all right. He deludes the interference from Moxley, and then Brody King just started beating, just start giving freaking rolling forearms to Claudio and rolling forearms to Yuta, and Bandito does the we'll call it the silly string bomb. 1, 2, 3. Brodito retains their championships. I am all here for it. Very great match. Your thoughts?
I love this. I thought this was good. I mean, I
This
like
was so
that you get to see Wheeler Yuta in a match against guys that I think are very accomplished wrestlers, and he gets
good.
to show that he, isn't over his head, that he belongs in that space.
Mm-hmm.
Claudio. Anytime I get to see Claudio wrestle, I'm extremely happy. We've talked about it a million times. He is that guy. That's a guy I know what I want when I say I want more for. He needs to be competing for a singles title. And honestly, like as much as I like the Death Riders for what it is. I mean, I think they're a little long in the tooth for me, but I've enjoyed them overall. I think that it's time for something different for Claudio. Um, and I think that he should be out on his own as a, main event singles wrestler. So, um, all that being said, this match was very solid. I enjoyed it. I think it was the best thing on this episode of Dynamite. Um, and yeah, I'm glad that Brodito retained their titles. I don't know how long they're going to be tag team champions, but for the moment, it feels
Right?
fun and good. So I'll
Yeah.
take it for what they're giving me, and just be happy with the moment. So, yeah, the only thing that I hope is that when their reign ends, that it's not the end, not necessarily of Brodito, but it's not the end of both of them, either singles or tag team. Like,
I
I don't
understand.
want them to say, "Oh, we lost the titles, we'll split them up," and then neither of them has any kind of booking
It'll
as
go
singles
as hard.
wrestlers, right? Like,
Yeah.
so either keep them as a tag team and let them continue to hang out around the titles and continue to compete for them, or do something with them as singles guys and push them a little bit more as singles guys. At least Brody King, as much as I love Bandito, I mean, I'm all in on Brody King. So again, I know that, we say this all the time. Claudio and Brody King are two guys that I do think, when I say I want more for both of them, they should be competing for titles, for singles titles, both of them, on a regular basis. So they should be in that main event bubble, in my
Agreed.
opinion.
Agreed. 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 All right, and then we get the Hurt Syndicate response to what you call it, the Gates of Agony and Rick, Pretty Ricky, aka Ricochet, and basically they're like, we accept, and said this will be the second time that MVP will lace up the trunks, lace up the boots in AEW, which I like. I'm like, okay, like at least we're not acting like he's gonna wrestle every week. Like he does it when absolutely needed. So I'm actually happy about that. And to my
Agreed.
yeah, so look what happened. So like, and then of course they're downtrodden. You they're like, what happened to you? I mean, such like a high professional wrestler, and now you're just like a petty little person that just goes around and wrecking everything. And we're gonna prove a point to you. I'm like, all right, cool, prove a point. Uh, nice little promo. I'm not mad at it. What do you think about the trios match from next week?
What I thought was interesting was that you could still see that there's a difference between MVP and Ricochet, who are clearly the two mouthpieces for their factions, right? Like MVP's
Yeah,
promo came off better than Ricochet's promo did. Um, I just, the whole, you know, we there's a difference between people that uh, request respect or demand respect. People just respect us when we walk in the
yeah,
room. It just is who we are, And I
yeah.
just thought that his presence in the promo was what Ricochet was chasing and never quite got there in his promo. But again, very solid promo. I love MVP. I'm glad Bobby Lashley isn't talking because that's definitely not his strong suit. And for what it's worth, I guess it makes sense to have Shelton say something at the very end. It felt a little unnecessary after MVP already said all the words that were important, but
Yeah.
I guess it gives him something to do than just stand there. Um, so yeah, no, I mean this was fine, and I'm here for the match. I think the match next week should be solid, like we talked about earlier during Ricochet's promo. I think the match should be solid. I still don't understand why we're not just putting a rocket on Bobby Lashley's back and pushing him right to the top of the singles main event circle, but it is what it is. I mean, I guess
Right.
maybe Tony Khan has something long term that he wants to do with Bobby Lashley. I don't know. The problem is Bobby Lashley's not young. Like, I mean,
He
yeah,
is
in
not.
wrestling years, I mean, it's not like he's been around for 40 years wrestling, but he's over 40 or right at 40 age wise, and he's been wrestling for a fair amount of time. I mean, it's not like he's new to this. So, like,
Right.
I'm not sure how long. I'm not sure what you're waiting for if you're Tony Khan. So,
Yeah. No, no, no. Like I said, like I said again, hopefully everyone comes out on this better than when they came in. Like MVP said, Ace of Agony. Don't let Ricochet make turn turn the trajectory of your career into the dust. It's like, yeah, I do want more for Gates and Magony. They just need that shot. They just need that spotlight. But nevertheless, all right. And so our next segment we have Adam Copeland coming out to, I guess, another promo with Christian and FTR, but like they're like, you know what, screw that, we're just gonna beat the crap out of each other. Well, more so, FTR comes out and start beating up Copeland, and here comes Christian to even the score, and they're going all over the freaking place, and then the brawling ensues. Of course, here comes wrestlers and security trying to stop the craziness, and of course FTR is going to assault some security, and then they're still trying to escape, still trying to break them free. And so and then crazy enough, which I don't hate, a ROH wrestler tries to restrain Dax and Cash, and then Dax pushes him a little bit too much, and then the ROHers are like, "Screw you!" and just goes here and just goes full on force back and forth. I'm like, okay, that's a new little nugget that I actually don't mind. Like, they aren't just I'll say low level wrestlers into a brawl. No, he's like, screw this, respect me. And so basically everybody's still trying to restrain everybody. They're still going forth. It feels like I said, we already discussed this. It feels like they might be going into at least a no DQ. I think it's better to do a no DQ match than a TLC match. At least a no DQ, you put like, oh, a spot here, a spot there. But a TLC match should still be the end game. But I don't mind it. I don't mind it at all. Sometimes like, you screw talking. Let's just fight. Your thoughts?
I mean, I thought this was fine. I mean, I thought this was for what it is, and it hypes up the match for when it happens. And yeah, I mean, I thought FTR came off good. I thought CNC came off good, and I liked it all. I had
So
no
very
problem with
good.
any of it.
And I'll just piggyback off all this. So the person that Dax shoved, and they start getting into a brawling match. Evidently, they had a mini matches with that man and his tag team partner, and so we're going to have that little payoff at Collision. That little match, and that match like that. This is how you elevate someone that people really don't know. So I appreciate
He,
that. I'm actually go
yeah, so Adam Priest was was JD Drake's partner on Collision when they wrestled FTR. So
okay.
that's the continuation. So Adam Priest came out here, and then he got in FTR's face, and now they have another match on Collision.
Like I said, this is how you propel
Yeah,
a tag team. This was so simple, but yet it was so effective, and I absolutely love it. And then we get a
agreed
video
with all of that.
package. Yeah, yeah. Then we get a video package of we are going to get Garcia versus Moxley on Collision, and they give a video package of this nice little rivalry program of got beat, but Moxley respects you. He's trying to motivate you. Are you going to be a part of the team? It feels like Collision. We're going to settle once and for all if you're going to join or not. And to that, I say yes. Please do so. So it was nice. Any thoughts on the promo package?
Just the same thoughts that I vocalized before, and I thought that this made it even more impactful because I I didn't remember that it had been as long since they wrestled as you said it was earlier. Um, but when
Yeah,
they showed the package to Daniel Garcia losing 4 times already to John Moxley, it felt like they all happened yesterday. So
yeah.
in that regard, it feels like they've been doing this for quite a while now, and I don't really need to see Daniel Garcia get another chance to lose to John Moxley. Like, I just don't. The reality is that Daniel Garcia shouldn't be beating John Moxley, and I don't think he's going to. Eventually, maybe with some sort of weird, help, he might end up getting a pin. But how many matches do we have to see before that ends up happening? I mean, no way backstage is there ever going to be a Daniel Garcia gets a clean win over John Moxley. They would have done that already if they wanted to do that. So, in that regard, I don't, so it is what it is. I'm not necessarily excited for this match, but again, we'll see.
Under, under. I'll say this. it feels like if this doesn't work, I'm not sure what will with Daniel Garcia. I feel like he should be definitely be forward, more forward in his career, and that hasn't happened yet for whatever reason. So yeah, if he joins the Death Riders, I just hope that this makes him better. When I say better, as in more star power, because he's a great wrestler, but the star, the aura, the persona isn't there just yet.
Yeah.
All right, and then we get backstage with FTR and Stokely, and Stokely is Stokely, and I love Stokely. He's like, see, he's like Cope and Christian, y'all are just what's the word? Y'all are just clamoring for the spotlight. You made your names, what you like? You made your names off of something. Wait, this is wait. Give me a minute. I'm like, am I repeating
Yeah.
Collision or is this here? Give me a minute.
Stokely wasn't on Collision.
He was, but so this was on Dynamite. Let me just double check real quick. Stop. Give me a minute. There it is. And yep, yep. That's it. When they were like, so this was so Stokely came in and was like, you should be mad at FTR. I got confused because I was confused. I thought that it was them hyping. I thought FTR versus the dude with JD Drake was a separate promo, but no, it was all together. It was Stokely started it, and the dude came in, and the dude challenged them at a collision. But for
Right.
that, Stokely
Yeah.
came out, and it was like Christian and Adam Copeland, you made your name off of 3 words, TLC, while FTR is going to go down in history with 3 words, FTR. And they will be your 11-time tag team champions. And it's like, cool. Any thoughts on the Stokely part of the promo?
We heard this earlier, right? Didn't Cash and Dax say the same thing? Was it on Collision or earlier in the night? Oh yeah,
That's why I
earlier
was
in the
so.
night.
That's why I was like, huh? Yeah.
Right. I mean, this is
I'm not
almost the
sure.
exact same word. You made your name on TLC. We're making our name with FTR, 3 letters, and yeah, I mean it's almost the exact same thing. So yeah, I mean, other than that, it's fine. I mean, you get the big Stoke energy, which is great. I love Stokely
Yeah.
Hathaway. Um, so it carries a little bit different, but no, you're saying the exact same words that Dax and
Yeah.
Cash said. So okay,
And but yeah, but I do love Stokely and FTR together. I'm not sure what we thought of them being together, but they are definitely a put together. It's not thrown together anymore. They're actually a team, and I respect that.
yeah,
And now it's time for the main event. It will be part of Don Callis family. Cal Fletcher, Josh Alexander with the Young Bucks, and on the other side we have uh the team of Jet Speed and Kevin Knight with Kenny Omega and Hangman Adam Page. This was so doggone tasty. It was so everything you thought it was gonna be, it should have been. And it was a very I love that they're actually, they actually gave the young people some shine. Okay, cool. But at one point in time, they're like, we're gonna give you what you came for. Where it was straight up Young Bucks versus Kenny Omega and Hangman. And it's like, let's freaking go. I was not I didn't know about BTE until AEW started, but like I love like the place erupted. Everybody was chanting BTE, and they were just going balls to the wall. I felt like they were trying to prove something, like just in case you don't know why people are getting crazy. This is why. And it feels like they, like, even though they're rivals, they still train with each other, because it was just so gosh doggone satisfying. But then here comes the newbies coming in, because it is a 4-on-4 tag. It is an 8-man tag, so whatever. Here comes Cal Fletcher and Speedball Mike Bailey to enter the fray, and they did good. They did good. They did, like I said, it one they sucked, but we all knew why the people were here today. And crazy enough, Cal Fletcher gets the 1, 2, 3. very interesting turn of events, but great freaking match. Your thoughts on the match before we go to the post match stuff?
I mean, as I say all the time with these multi-man matches, they can leave me a little wanting sometimes because you don't get to see everything and there's so much chaos and it's hard to follow. And some of that was here, but for the most part, they did a pretty good job of keeping a lot of the bulk of it all in the ring and making it fairly easy to follow. The Young Bucks had an opportunity to look like the Young Bucks. I thought they looked really good. Um, Omega, obviously, well, it looked like he was back and now it looks like he's out. So or Omega had been slowly coming back, and now it looks like maybe he might be out. We'll talk about that post match,
Oh,
but
oh, real quick to the Josh, we give Josh Alexander players. I love that him and Speedball was mixing it up. I wanted someone to chant TNA. I'm like, heck yeah, this is the best part of TNA for the past 5 years. So I love that little segment too. Josh Alexander and Speedball mixing it up one on one like that. I did love that. All right, sorry, go on.
yeah, no, I mean there was a lot of good spots in this, where they harken back to a lot of things. It looked like Kyle Fletcher and Hangman Page had a couple moments where it looks like Kyle Fletcher has his eyes on the world championship. There was a lot of undertones, a lot of subtle things going on here, a lot of history between a lot of guys that you see, and it all played into the storyline, which makes the match so good. And all these guys can really wrestle, so it's a lot of fun. I enjoyed this. I feel bad for Kevin Knight that he's the guy that takes the pin, but at the same time, if you're looking at the roster or if you're looking at the people in this match, it's probably got to be Kevin Knight or Mike Bailey, right? So take your pick between the
Yeah.
two of them, I guess, to take the pin. So, and it was Kevin
Right.
Knight and Kyle Fletcher gets the pin. You know, I don't know what that. Obviously, Takeshita is not in this match. I don't
Right.
know I don't know what the implication of Kyle Fletcher getting the win and continually getting the wins and wanting, the showdowns with Hangman Page. I don't know what that does for the hierarchy of the Don Callis family. It sounds like they're trying to breed some or intertwine some what cause some issues between Takeshita and Fletcher ultimately, right? Like
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
who's
Yeah.
going to be the big guy, and maybe that causes one of them to leave or whatever, and somehow the family has some sort of breakdown because one of them doesn't want to play second fiddle to the other one, or whatever the case may be, or at least a family friendly iron sharpens iron match between the two of them, right? At some point, like who's actually the alpha of the Callis family, right? So you could do it in many different ways, but um, so I'm here for that. So I think that's probably part of why Kyle Fletcher got the win. This was fun. Overall, great main event. You have your world champion, maybe the best tag team on the planet other than FTR in the match. So all those things all lead to a very solid match. So I
Yeah.
enjoyed it in a good main event spot.
So I'm gonna mesh some segments together because I missed one. So Okada did a backstage segment and with Renee Paquette, and this before the match, and she was like, "What was going on with your tag teaming of the Keshta, and what were the issues back there?" And basically, Okada was like, "I'm the main. Like I don't care what family I'm in. I am the main star of this division." Bitch. And so it's like that was nice. That was nice. So to that point, I would say and to that point, I say you said Takeshita wasn't on here, and post match we have Don Callis' family in control. Cal Fletcher did a brain buster to Hangman Adam Page. Uh, Omega tries to fight it off, but it's too many Don Callis members, and eventually Cal Fletcher does a brain buster to Omega through the table, and here comes the stretcher, comes the neck brace. Evidently, Omega is out. So it feels like right now we're going to try to they're going to try to give us Okada versus Takeshita. And again, to that I say fine, but I like last week when it said, "Hey, Don Cal's family was going to go against for the main title," I thought it was Takeshita because Takeshita didn't have a title. Yes, I want to see him versus Okada, but I wanted Takeshita versus Omega more. And now with Kyle Fletcher getting the pin in this match and then taking out both Hangman and Omega, it feels like Kyle Fletcher versus Heyman for the title, and I'm not sure how I feel about that. Oh, okay, listen, Cal Fletcher has been great by himself. He has exceeded very well in the Don Callis family, but he's already TNT champion. That's like so like you're having another champ go against your world heavyweight champion. I don't like that. And in this instance, even though Okada is that person, Okada is a mid card champion. So you're putting Takeshita in the mid card and Cal Fletcher in the main event. And I don't like it. I don't like it. But a very effective go home segment. Last little thing. If this was Omega's last match for a minute, I'm not sure what's going on with his health where he can't go all the time, which I respect. I would have rather them do this at All Out. I think this would have been a better All Out angle and have Omega be at All Out to get some more ticket sales than him not being at All Out. It feels like, and I don't like that. I don't. I'm like, like. You need more big names. I want you to. What's the word? I don't want you to change your card so much to go against WWE. But I do think at this point in time, when you have a lot of people who are out because of actual injuries, you should have your top stars here for as long as possible. So I do believe that if Omega just had one more match left in him, this should have been on All Out. This should have been on All Out. But great, nevertheless, great match. What are your thoughts
I mean,
on the
I
post
guess I
match? On the
tend
post
to
match.
agree with. Right. I mean, I guess I tend to agree with you. I mean, it definitely makes Kyle Fletcher look, very, very strong by him taking out both Hangman and Omega ultimately. Um, I feel like I missed the boat personally for a long time. Like by the time that we got AEW and the Young Bucks and Omega and these guys over here, they were already had been doing this for a while, especially Omega. And it feels like now, especially, we're not going to get him full time. Like, I don't know if it's one
Yeah,
thing that's going on that's keeping him from doing it full time or not, or if it's a number of things or what it is, if it's just age and all the things combined. But I missed him at his prime, right? I didn't get to
yeah,
see him at his prime per se.
yeah,
Nor did I get to see the Young Bucks really at I mean, I think they're still kind of in the edge of their prime, like in the back edge of their prime. Like
yeah,
not 10 years ago when they were, doing everything for the first time and making their solidifying themselves as the best, tag team
yeah,
on the planet and all the hype that they brought into AEW with them. So in that regard, I feel like I cheated myself a little bit. I should have been paying more attention to some of those things that are
no, don't
outside
say
of
that.
just that WWE spectrum, which is all I was watching before AEW. Really, I kind of knew of New Japan. Obviously, I know that there's wrestling in other places,
But they're
and I
wrestling at
knew
three
that there were.
o'clock in the
I knew that there was
morning.
other wrestling, but I had never really watched it. The first time, until I got introduced to Wrestle Talk and ultimately True Heel Heat 5 or 6 years ago, I had never watched New Japan wrestling. I just hadn't. Like, I never watched any Japanese wrestling. So in that regard, like, I missed a lot of stuff that had taken place earlier, in the years. And so, I feel like I missed a lot of stuff. That being said, I'm still happy Omega's around. I hope he's not out for too long. I hope this isn't a prolonged absence
Yeah,
again. I want him back. I also realize, he's older and probably doesn't want to do it every single day like he did 10 years ago or 5 years ago or even 3 years ago. That stuff changes as you get older, your priorities shift, your body hurts more, all those kinds of things, right? And so I get it. But I mean, this was fine. In a vacuum, it's fine. Don't want Omega gone too long.
right.
Kyle Fletcher is definitely being pushed. He's got a rocket strapped to his back for sure. I don't think they're going to
Yeah,
put two belts on him at all. I don't see that happening, and I do think that he will be world champion at some point. I don't think that the time is right for that yet. I just think, even though I'm not a big fan of the whole "you have to pay your dues," I feel like he still has to put in a little more work. He's still fairly
yeah,
new and young, and there's guys that I feel like should have an opportunity first at that title before him that have earned it
yeah,
more to a certain extent by just putting in more time and more, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
in that regard, I don't want him to jump the line, but you also can't deny talent either. And Kyle Fletcher definitely has it. You can only keep the best guys in their whatever the people that are the best at what they're doing out for so long, right? And he's clearly
Right.
one of the best at what he does. So you can only deny him that spotlight for so long, and that time is already short, right? He's
Yeah.
already taken over half of the spotlight, right? You got Okada, who in theory, just because of his name and what he is, should be the alpha of the Don Callis family. But you have Takeshita biting at his heels because that's kind of where he's been positioned by Don Callis, and now he's won the G1, and it feels like the Takeshita Okada match feels like a passing of the torch to a certain extent. It
Yeah.
feels like Okada saying, he's not by any stretch, but Okada saying, I understand my time is coming to an end shortly. You're the next generation, right? To a certain extent, Takeshita. That's how it feels to me. And yet here's Kyle Fletcher to kind of break in and kind of ruin that party a little bit because you, like I said, you can only deny greatness so long. I mean, he is so good in the ring and he's so good at what he does that he rises. So it's very interesting that there's this kind of this trio battle for who's going to be at the top of the Callis family, and it's interesting. So I'm here for all that. I thought the show was very solid. I thought it was better than Collision. We gave Collision a B minus. I'm going to give this a B plus. I thought this was a B plus. So I enjoyed the main event. I didn't think anything was egregious. We didn't have any, thankfully, no patriarchy spots on this
Yeah.
show. So no, I
Yeah.
thought it was good.
Yeah. No. The only grease thing is that our women's champion Tony Storm needs a rival, needs a feud, an actually
Yes,
decent one. We need to figure that out. But besides that,
and
like you
that's an
said,
AEW problem. That's not an episode. That wasn't a Wednesday, September 3rd episode issue, right? That's an AEW booking problem. It wasn't to
yeah,
me. I mean, it kind of shined in here because we don't know what's going on, but at the same time, like it wasn't something that happened on this show particularly that made it egregious per se. It's the overall booking of that of the women's world championship at the moment. So,
nope. I feel you were on the same boat. So I will give this A minus, maybe.
oh,
I
you're going A
it was
minus.
good. Like I said, there is nothing wrong. There is literally nothing wrong with it. Her syndicate and Ricochet was cool. Just hopefully just elevated better. But yeah, it was a really good show. It was a really good show.
All right. So you gave Dynamite an A minus. I gave it a B plus. We both gave Collision a B minus. So for anyone that knows how grades work, that means that I need to really go out and find a horn sound. You can actually do that. That tells us, or that means that AEW Dynamite won this week, beating a Collision with a solid episode of Dynamite. Let's see. We've already been talking to you guys for a long time, so we'll do a little house cleaning and then we will get up out of here. Join us every Tuesday night for the Cookout Podcast, where we all come together and talk about what's cooking up in the world of professional wrestling. Come for the wrestling, stay for the chaos. 7:30 p.m. Pacific, 10:30 Eastern every Tuesday night. Friday night fights to answer Tyler's question. Tyler's statement. He says, guys, you should review SmackDown. We don't really review SmackDown because Anika watches it live every Friday night and gives you her review and opinions and all those things, reactions in real time. So that's one of the reasons why we don't review SmackDown independently. So you're more than welcome to tune in on Friday nights, Tyler, and join Anika while she watches SmackDown, and you will get all of her wonderful opinions on the show and reactions to SmackDown. So that's one way you can get some SmackDown content from Workhorse Wrestling Network. So yes, every Friday night starting at 5 p.m. Pacific, when SmackDown starts 8 p.m. Eastern, Anika is here watching. So hopefully for her, she has someone with her, usually Sammy Joe, but last night she was solo. So thank you for holding down the fort, Anika solo. Let's see, on Saturday mornings, we have the Winter Circle, which you're here with us for right now. Every Saturday, we review AEW Collision from the Saturday before and AEW Dynamite from the Wednesday before, and give each show a grade and declare one the winner. This week it was AEW Dynamite. So every Saturday morning, 7 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Eastern. Come join us for that as you are with us here now. Let's see if you want to scan this QR code. Uh, or if you scan the QR code, you can get to Linktree and you can get to all of our social media from one place. We do have, so we are active on all the places you see on the screen there. You can also just go to those places. You don't have to go to Linktree first or scan the QR code, but scanning the QR code will take you to Linktree, which will help you get to all of these places easily. Um, but come over, interact with us, check us out. Need to be a little bit more active on the social media stuff. I will get back into that with maybe some trivia questions and stuff on X or on Blue Sky. So make sure and check us out on those social media platforms. And last but not least, you can check out the audio version of the Cookout podcast on these podcast platforms. If you don't have time to sit and watch, or you just want to listen to us while you're working out or running your chores or driving around in your car, you can find us on those podcast platforms. So check that out. Unless you have anything else to say to the people, Miss Anika, we will do as Dolores says, cut out the lights. And until next time, peace.